All right, hello. My name is Jason. I use he, him pronouns. We're here to play Against the Dark Conspiracy by Alan Rees. We're doing the Demon Conspiracy. This is our second of four sessions. We're playing this game as part of the Gauntlet online gaming community. You can find out about us at gauntlet-rpg.com, or you can go on YouTube, The Gauntlet, and see any of our, I think it's over 1,000 videos now on YouTube. Um, we are going to just go around the table quickly and introduce ourselves, introduce our characters with our pronouns, and just remind us a little bit of who your character is and what they do on the team. And then we'll talk about safety and we'll get playing. So let me start. I think today I'll move one to the right on our character keeper and we'll start with Dom. Alan, tell us about Dom.
Okay, my name is Alan. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm playing Dominique Dom Harris, pronouns she, her. Dom used to work for MI6 until she began to believe that the people she was killing she thought was for Queen and Country. Instead, it turns out to have been for the shadowy conspiracy that we are now investigating. Now, clearly, she dropped out of sight at MI6 because somebody was giving her those jobs, and so what MI6 think, whether they think she's dead in the wind, I don't know. But certainly, I think Maisie Thomas, her former lover, thinks that she's just dropped off the grid, and is probably really pissed off. But yes, I kill people for a living.
All right. Tell us about Marco, Joe.
Good morning. My name is Joe, he, him. I'm playing Marco Ruiz, who is also he, him. He is a hacker who is formerly with the NSA, who came across information in the course of his duties that led him to discover elements of the conspiracy, which led to him and his family all being killed. I haven't, like last time we discussed whether they think he's dead or he's just also fallen off the radar as well. But yes, he's the hacker extraordinaire. So he's the man behind the scenes, hopefully pulling the strings, maybe a little bit.
Okay. And David, tell us about Chissy, or I guess we started calling him Purity.
Yeah, so hi, my name is David, he, him pronouns, Chessy or Purity, they, them pronouns, and the operator type that I chose is basically a burglar for used to work for a Russian Lisky Bratva organization, criminal organization, and he's known for stealing things. Sometimes he steals your heart. But he was raised in a cell that was based off of, whether it's true or not, we're not sure, but that angels walk among us. And so it's this sort of faith-based group, and that he's basically working to save them from becoming demons. And his older brother, who was raised in the cell, has left the order, and he's concerned about that. But right now, he's really concerned about what's going on in this ritual where are we in this church? Is in Prague?
Prague Cathedral.
Yeah, Prague Cathedral, and we're going into these tunnels, and it's going to be action filled and dangerous, and looking forward to it.
All right. Let's talk briefly about safety. So we talked in greater length last time, but just to remind everybody, we're using the open door. People can come and go as they please. One of our players we haven't seen yet, so they can jump in when they want and jump out if they need to. We're using the X card. If something is objectionable to you, even if it was something that you were okay with last time or earlier today, you could throw that X on the screen. Let us know that there's something bothering you, and we will do our best to cut that out of our game. We are using lines and veils. Let's review that briefly. We have lines on sexual assault and violence, homophobia, racism, sexism, infection and plague as a major plot point, peril to pregnant women or infants, vampires and vampire lore, and fae and dark fae lore. We have veils on harmed children, consensual sex, torture by PCs, and we're interested in demons and demonic lore, horror and gore, verbal or physical tension or conflict between PCs, romance with PCs, romance with NPCs, and drug and alcohol use or abuse. So those are all things we want to see. All right. Let us start playing. So just briefly, let me just kind of set the stage where we left off. So the four of you had done some investigation and figured out that there was sort of a back door, an excavated hole in the back of the cathedral. You had snuck in there. I think Purity had grabbed some silver-covered iron chains. You had entered down into a ancient hallway, descended some stairs. Marco had deactivated some motion sensors, discovered a hookup and hacked into it, deactivated those sensors, and also got sort of a floor plan of this this crypt area underneath the cathedral. And it's clear from it that a lot of this construction is ancient construction. It goes back to the Middle Ages. And you see on your floor plan that this tunnel goes ahead, and then there's a flooded section. It's, I don't know, it's some sort of notes have been added that it's been flooded. And you see that flooded area goes on for a little while, and it comes up to a door, and through that door, it enters into sort of a large chamber. There's a large chamber ahead. One thing I forgot to mention when we were talking about the safe house last time, I just want to put that out there so you guys know about it. Your safe house provides you, if you guys slide to the right, past Purity to the right side at the top of the operators tab, you see our notes on the safe house. And at the bottom, it says something like, which single gear benefit does it offer? Your safe house will provide you one of these three types of special equipment. It can provide you heavy weapons, which are any weapons with a heavy tag, automatic weapons, which are weapons with the is it auto tag? I think it is. And tech equipment and explosives, things like drones and explosives and stuff like that. Once one of you declares one of those kinds of equipment, we will click the box, and that will define our safe house as providing that kind of equipment. So we don't mark that until that time comes. But if any of you think about grabbing one of those types of equipment, we'll mark that box when that time comes, okay?
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Is that static for that safe house, or can it change? And
Yes.
then, like, if we then went off to Madrid and had a different safe house, it could be different stuff. Okay, cool.
That's right.
So if I decided as the course of this, because I know, like, when we get into a situation, we say, okay, I've got this gear. If I picked a piece of gear that, like an assault rifle, which I think has the auto tag, does that mean we've picked then? Okay.
Right. Then we would go back and we would click the automatic weapons box on our safe house.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yep.
It doesn't mean the other stuff isn't available. You just have to call on a contact for each item that isn't of that safe house benefit.
That's right. So if you did that in your example, Joe, and then later on you guys wanted a bomb, you would have to go back and call on a contact that provides you that bomb. It would cost you a stress. Okay, let's get into it. So you guys have continued down this tunnel, and you've gotten into this flooded area. So I see you're going through this water, and we'll assume all of your equipment is waterproof, by the way. So you're going through this water. It's about waist deep, and I am curious which of the two of you have taken. We'll assume for some reason Steven's character has disappeared. We'll sort that out later if we don't see him later. But which of two of you have sort of taken the lead in this tunnel?
I've got a view. I think that Carla is probably using her military fieldcraft at the back of the group to just check whether we're being followed. Mm-hmm. And as the person who's keenest to kill someone, I'd like to volunteer to be at the sharp end.
Mm-hmm. Who do you think is behind Dom then?
I think I would recommend maybe me because of the we've already run into a few electronic security countermeasures, so it might make sense that if Dom spots something or sees something that that I would be there to take care of it or attempt to take care of it.
Sure.
I'm also kind of keen, given my revenge motivations. I'm also keen to hurt or kill things, I think.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're going along, and you come to an area where you see it kind of comes to a dead end, and you see on your map, Marco, that there's stairs sort of under the water that go down. So there's sort of a submerged section. So you're going to have to swim down and under, and then it'll come up again to that door that I mentioned. So we see Dom and I think it was Marco. Then I guess would be next. Slipping under the water for this short swim, leaving Purity and Carla, to follow. And a wisp, but we don't, the screen sees it, none of the rest of you see it, but a wisp of dark spectral energies sort of like flows out of the shadows and sort of moves towards Purity, sort of wraps around your head. And I am going to choose a new obstacle. This is going to be, did anyone else feel that? There's a very potent supernatural foe on site, and the hair on the back of your neck just told you so. A voice speaks to you, in your head, Purity, and it says, it's a very warm, comforting voice, and it says, I heard you calling me with your blood. I'm so happy you've come, Purity. I know you will help me, and I will help you. Tell me, what is it you want most in life? And this is activating a power called, let me get to the right thing. The supernatural tab is where I'm going. We learned about angels a little bit, and I'm going to add a power of this angel called Discover Desire. This angel wants to know, what do you want most in life? Now you can resist this, or you can just let them know.
So I think, given the fact that we're on this mission to save this angel, would I perceive the thing talking to me, the thing that we're going to rescue?
It sounds very angelic. It's a very warm, okay, comforting voice. I'll say that much.
Okay, I think I've got these chains around me, and yes, the mission is to save the angel. Save. So, and I'm, probably like up to my ankles or up to my knees in the water already. And I'm thinking, wow, this angel is speaking to me. So I think I'll respond back in my head is I'm going to use its true name to address it. And see if there's a response.
That's interesting. I'm going to say, let's have this be do something else.
Mm-hmm.
Let me look at the move real quick. As for expertise, would it be an expertise? Using the deterrent. I think you've earned it. So I'm going to give you expertise. You've got this extra little bit of magical power, so to speak. So go ahead and let's go to the dice.
Okay.
So you get the center dice. You get that center gray die. I'm going to give you the expertise die because of the use of the true name. So you in your head, or maybe even you murmur it. I think you mentioned before that when you stress, you sort of murmur. So this is maybe a moment where you have this little sing song. I think you mentioned you can't really say the name of it because it'll destroy you, but
yeah,
you can sing this little melody in this ancient. Is Anakian a spoken language also, or is it only a written language?
Well, it depends on what supernatural show or book you're reading or watching.
It's up to you then.
Yeah. So I feel like it's like a fragment of a tune or something in this case.
Okay.
Yeah.
So go ahead and mark the two dice, the gray one and the orange one, and then do you wish to add your stress die?
Yes.
Okay. Now your stress is up to 3. Just to let you know, that's not horrible, but it's getting there. So go ahead, mark those 3 dice.
I feel this is appropriate. All right, so
Sure.
let's go ahead and do this. Let's see how this turns out. Oh, yeah.
You did get the 6. It is on the stress die.
Yes, I did.
So your stress will go up by 1.
Let me go over there and do that. Perfect. All right, so I got a 1 and a 1. What does that mean? Let's take
the 1 and a 1 don't matter. All we care about is the top die. So
Okay.
let's go to the basic moves.
Uh-huh.
The third tab over.
Yeah.
Do something else. When you get a 6, you succeed brilliantly, and the control will agree with you what extra benefit you get. You also mark an intel.
Sweet.
So go ahead and mark an intel. That's down in line. I think it was 27.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just want to say I love the fact that even if you get stress, you still get something out of it. Thank you, Alan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's neat how the 6 is like good news and bad news all at the same time.
The pisser is when the 6 is not on the stress dice.
And usually you would also roll for stress here, but your stress already went up. So just kind of remind us again, what does it look like, you think, when purity starts to stress more?
I think what we see as an audience is that it's no longer a murmur of prayer. It's like now it's like slightly above conversational tones. It's just coming out. Purity is just speaking this litany of prayers and things. So it's definitely not quiet. It might be even echoing around the chamber now. So there's no stealth at all around purity at this time.
Right.
You can just imagine Carla further back in the corridor saying, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, like, shut up, Purity, shut up. And it's almost like my eyes are starting to roll up into my head too.
I think remind me, what was it you were doing? I can't remember before we rolled.
We were going down the steps into the water.
Yeah, but you were in speaking to the voice or in responding to the voice.
Yeah.
I forget
what. So basically, it had asked me what I desire, and so I was responding first by seeing if I could identify it with its true name. Okay. Do I get a sense that it is this thing?
No. So what happens is that warm melodic voice sort of gets rough and deep and gnarly, and you hear even sort of in the background, like if before maybe there was like a it becomes sort of like a there's a almost like screams, like there's a deep note of screaming in the background of this voice, and it says, I order you to tell me what you want most in life, Purity. But I think this is sufficient to have, the extra benefit is you can also resist it without having to roll for it.
Yeah, and I think what we might see is and if this is too graphic, let me know. Purity probably opens up a cut from the ritual and takes some of the blood and makes like a Enochian holy symbol on the forehead, and would also attempt to do that on Carla, to protect Carla. But we don't have to show that because Steven's not here.
Yeah. I think it's a good time to note that you can go down then. You can mark, what does Alan call it? Symbol of faith, I think.
Yeah.
Yes. Symbol of faith on your equipment list. So go ahead and add that.
Oh, perfect.
And let me add an extra note that when the voice changed, it's still the same. You notice it's the same voice. It's just the timbre and obviously the content has changed. And that sort of background note of the music, of the sound has changed, but it's still the same voice. But having done this and having put this symbol on your forehead, it let's see, it would sort of it roars with frustration, and you feel it leaving your consciousness.
I would, over my earpiece, like, because they can hear me praying anyways, I would stop that and say, the defiler demon is coming for you. Beware, to the partners who've gone ahead, warning them of this. But then probably resuming my prayers again.
Sure. I think you've kind of come in contact, obviously, with the supernatural. So the first time that happens, I'd like you to make it. Oh, you already got extra stress, so we won't hit you again with that. So, we'll save that for the others as they move forward. So you take your turn and you dive underneath also, and we see on the other side Dom and Marco. You've kind of come up up the stairs on the other side of this submerged area, and you come up and there's this old, rusted out iron door, that is ajar that leads into presumably, Marco, you can see it leads into sort of like a landing where the stairs come down from in the cathedral. And then there's an adjoining large chamber. If you move through this door, you'll be able to probably move into this large chamber. But at that moment, I'd like to trigger my next up. As Purity and Carla are swimming along, I'm going to trigger Divided. The team is split up. Both groups can reach the objective, but they have to do it separately. As you're swimming along, Purity, there's a clanging sound from below you, and you see that there's this trap door, this steel trap door, which seems almost out of character with this ancient stonework. It slides open and all the water starts to rush down this tunnel, including drawing you and Carla into it. And you go tumbling head over heels, for down this steel tube. It descends quickly and you splash out into a pool down below. Just through the process of this tumbling through this tunnel and the experience, make a stress roll for me. You just roll a single die, and you want to roll less than your current stress, or equal to or less, I think it is.
All right, so I have a 4 stress, so 4 or less. All right, I'm going to just roll that stress die again.
Okay.
I got 3.
Okay. Yeah, you're good. So let me take a minute to describe this, what you see before you here. So this, you've splashed out into this tunnel, and there's this large chamber, and it's about 50 feet across, and it's about 50 feet high, we'll say, just to keep it simple. And it's roughly circular, and you've splashed out into this pool that's off to the side. Takes up maybe like a quarter or so of this area, and it's about shoulder deep. The shoulder deep pool. So you're standing in it, and in about the middle of this large chamber, there are you can see that there are 2 machines sort of that have been set up, and each of them has sort of like a pedestal with like machinery around it. And they're connected by wires and tubes. And one of the machines, one of these pedestals, is the most beautiful person you've ever seen. Chained, wrapped in silver chains, and wrapped in around this this pole, we'll say, kind of like wrapped around this pole. And they're all they're slumped over, and there's all kinds of spinning like silver rings that are like spinning around it, and the rings are covered in runes. They're moving quickly, but it'll stop and then it'll move another direction. It seems to be moving in some sort of orchestrated way. And there's this angelic energy, this white spectral energy that's being drawn from this figure through these tubes over to the other side. And the other pedestal is about 15, 20 feet away from it. There's machines that are seem to be used as pumps to draw this energy, and also they're pumping water from this pool that you're in there, because everything's red hot on this other side. And there's a steel and glass cage that And inside the cage, the pipes are leading into it. And inside this cage, there's like, it looks like a pile of red meat, red bloody meat. And at first, that's what it seems like. But then you see that it's actually two people that are sort of like being meshed together. It's like the swirling angelic energy that's coming in here is somehow mushing these people together. And it's, I don't know if you guys ever seen the movie The Thing, but I imagine something like that, one of those kind of creatures, like an amalgam of two people being slowly meshed together. And luckily, this glass and steel must be really thick because you can't hear the screaming. And you see that above, raining the upper level, there's a steel catwalk that has been sort of retrofitted into this ancient cavern. And there are these stairs that lead down to this level that you're on. And that door, or that there's a break in the wall up there, and we see Dom and Marco kind of peeking out. So you guys see all of this also, okay? And on the steel catwalk above, there are two guys in fatigues and tactical gear with assault rifles that are sort of walking along, and they have, spaced about. There are sort of like spotlights that they're shining around down there to kind of like keep an eye on things. And down on the ground level, there are about half a dozen guys in black robes that are sort of attending to these two machines, so whatever's going on here. And then there are another half a dozen people. They're just sort of milling in between, looking around, smiling and having a good time and chit-chatting with each other. And they're these extremely attractive people in like savannah gear, I'll call it, or like they've got very expensive clothing that looks like it's never been used before. They look like the kind of people that would like buy a Land Rover just to drive around in Manhattan. And they're just milling around, drinking wine and just having a good time, observing this whole ritual. And then on the opposite side in the back, because a bunch of lights, you can kind of like highlighting this area in the darkness at the back of the cave, or this cavern or this chamber. There's a row of tables that have been set up, so like a half circle of tables. And there's a guy, kind of a smallish guy with like bright green hair that is tapping away on all these computers and laptops and stuff. And there's all kinds of wires and stuff leading from there into these machines. He seems to be orchestrating this whole process. So there's a whole bunch there. Does anybody have any questions about any of those details or what I've described?
So we've got armed guards at the top. We've got rich influencers and robed cultists and a technical genius down there.
Got it.
Okay.
Let me ask you guys a few questions. So, Purity, I think it's appropriate to give you this question. That angelic figure in one of the machines, I said it was the most beautiful person you've ever seen. What celebrity would play our angel on our Netflix show?
Oh my gosh, this is maybe good or bad because I've lost touch with who's who in today's celebrity.
This could have been aired back in the 80s.
Yeah. I'm gonna just throw this out there because I loved her in blank Stardust, Michelle Pfeiffer type.
Okay. Sure.
So someone like that maybe,
mm-hmm.
who could in one angle look innocent, pure, in another angle look like, oh my god, they're gonna kill me with a stare.
Right. Right.
But yeah, like almost like too beautiful to be around. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I like it. Was Michelle Pfeiffer, like they did like the Narnia movies at one point, and they had someone play the White Queen, the Ice Queen?
No, that was Tilda Swinton, I believe.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and she's phenomenal. But for some reason, I was thinking Michelle Pfeiffer recently, so that's probably why.
Okay, perfect. I like it. And Marco, you recognize that hacker. There's a small world of elite hackers in the world, and you're amongst it. What is this guy's name? What's his deal? What do you know about this green-haired hacker that's running the show?
Let's see. As soon as you said my name, I knew you were going to ask me that, so my wheels started turning about a really cool name. Uh, hmm. So you're right. I think it's a relatively small community. I think this is probably somebody that um, maybe he even worked with off and on at times, but was always a little too on the the edge for Marco, right? Like somebody that you maybe because in these I don't know, but I'm assuming in these intelligence communities there are subcontractors that are of dubious character being used often, and this is one of those people that so he knows him from some operations he may have been involved in, and always felt like he was there was something wrong about him. Let's call him um, Psycho. That was how the handle or the name he went by.
Okay, great. Psycho. And Alan, in that, that pile of red meat, you recognize the face of a famous figure. Who is it? And it could be someone from real life or it could be someone you make up. It's fine to me. One of these two people being meshed together is someone famous and influential. You're muted.
I'm going to go with the president of the European Union, Ursula von der Leyen.
Okay.
My German pronunciation is not good, but I will find a picture for her.
Yeah, I know exactly who you mean. Yep. Okay. Obviously, you guys have arrived here in the midst of this ritual. So clock is ticking, which leads me to my next and last obstacle. Clock is ticking. The operation is now under time pressure. I'm going to say you each can have 2 actions before the ritual is complete. All right. So let us get into it. I'm going to go left to right from the character keeper, but we can jump around if it makes more sense. But let me start with Alan. Alan, what does Dom want to do?
I think that Dom, let me just check how heavily laden she is. That probably means the sniper rifle is out.
Is that a 3 ticker or a 3 box?
Oh no. I think that she rests a sniper rifle on the because she's medium loaded, so she can carry stuff with 2 boxes. So yeah, she will mark 2 gear for a sniper rifle, and that does mean that I am wanting the heavy tag.
Okay.
Unless you want me to call. No, I tell you what, I will call on a contact to get that heavy, because I've got my stress position is really comfortable. So I'll mark stress instead of using up that, because I don't think we need a lot of heavy equipment necessarily. And instead I will call on a contact. Where am I? Let me think. I will call on. Where's it gone? I'm just looking for the fixer. They can provide stuff. So I'm going to call on a Czech fixer. So we flash back to an earlier meeting in a cafe where I sit down with Georgi, and it looks like he's chatting me up. But when he leaves a briefcase under the table. And that is the briefcase that comes out of the pack that Dom is carrying, and we see her swiftly assemble the 3 parts of the sniper rifle and shoot the guy at the computer.
Okay. So let me say that you certainly can do so. The 2 guys on the catwalk are going to see you immediately and move on you. Is that okay with you?
Cover me, Marco.
Okay.
Yeah. So. And I don't know if we want to order these things, because that's exactly what I was thinking, that Dom would be because I was going to ask how far away, but I see myself more outfitted with a silenced pistol type guy than a a big gun guy. So I was thinking one way I could come out and engage the two, try to engage the two. This sounds extremely dangerous, but that would give Dom the space she needed to take the shot, because we were right in sync. Given the time constraints, I felt like the first thing we needed to do was kill the hack, stop him, which should delay the ritual. So I will come out, and I think cinematically, what I don't know, it's the way I see this is, if you think about a Bourne thing, as they're walking, come up behind one and shoot, and then turn, using him as a shield to take the other one out.
Sure. So let's handle yours then first, just in case there's any complications that might impact on Dom. So
do I need to mark the pistol on here for gear?
Yes. Okay. I think there is silver or silence pistol, silence handgun, something like that. So they come together and they're like starting to exchange cigarettes, and out you pop, you make your move, you grab them and whatnot. So let's go to the dice. All right. So you're going to you get the gray die always. You've got expertise of either, it looks like a little bit of hand-to-hand, a little bit of small arms. Either way, you've got expertise, so mark that also. Do you wish to include your stress die?
Absolutely. If this isn't a time to load up, there's no other time. So.
Oh, and before I do that, hold on that though. Everybody, Dom and Marco roll a stress die, just being exposed to supernatural stuff. Go ahead and make that stress roll. Purity is already kind of jumped over that middle.
That's a 2 for me, and given my stress just went up to 2, I'm okay.
Okay. All right, so just the stress die, right?
Yes, just that green stress die. Ooh. All right, so yours goes up 1. So
that just makes the next roll easier. So
there you go. And then you can roll those 3 dice when you're ready for your assault on these two heavies.
Will you look at that?
All right. So you got
good.
6 on the stress. So you have to go up another point of stress.
It is a stressful situation. So.
And this is a move called confront them, which is the 4th tab. Take them out. If you fight, shoot, or threat, or they attack you, say what success looks like. You got, looking down at the bottom, you got a 6. You succeed brilliantly. Control will agree with you what extra benefit you get, such as applying extra stress. So I'm going to say, how about you just take them both out? Does that sound appropriate?
Yep.
You gain an intel. Fighting these guys helps you learn more about the conspiracy, so mark an intel. You've already taken on a stress, so you don't roll for stress. So I think you take these 2 guys out. Dom, it is clear for you.
And I think what we've cut to Marco, doing this move to take them both out with just a couple of shots. Boom, boom. Meanwhile, on her knee, taking the knee just beside the railing overlooking this space, Dom is humming All Things Bright and Beautiful as she slots together the sniper rifle and draws a bead on our green-haired friend.
Okay. Go ahead and take your shot. So you get the gray, you get the orange because of deadly. Is that right?
No, I get orange because of shoot.
Because of shoot.
So okay. I've got the necessary expertise, but I also get the bonus dice. So the black dice that is rarely used, I get that because of my deadly expertise, and I will of course throw in the stress dice. Am I at risk? Do you want me to roll any of the risk dice?
No, I think right now you're fine. I should have had Mark. That's right.
Okay, let me roll those 4 dice. What could go wrong? 4 dice. Jeez. Oh, look at that. 6 on a stress dice.
6 on stress.
That is our favorite dice today. So my stress has gone up with 1. Yep. I've added a point of intel. I'd like to spread his brains over the back of the room.
Sure. Let me tell you, before you get your extra benefit, what happens as your high caliber bullet connects with his head. It just sort of passes through It's it's like he's made out of putty. It just sort of like through, passes through at a high velocity, crashes against the back wall, and he looks up and he yells out something in, let's say, I guess it would be Czech. Let's say it's Czech, and he yells out, to the robed attendants, kill them. So Psycho has some sort of a powers, and I'm going to put him on our list. He has the
Holy
power. He has the power of regeneration.
Okay. Then I would like to set the ball rolling on him by spending a point of intel shortly to declare a compulsion.
I'm going to put him on line 7, Psycho. He has the power of regeneration.
Yeah.
And you're going to give him a compulsion of what?
I am going to I would like him to be fascinated by attractive women.
Okay.
Of which I am one.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping that will just cause him to just look where the shot came from and just distract him from doing anything else for a moment.
Would you like to make it fascinated by beauty? That way Purity would definitely qualify also.
Yeah.
I don't know. Would you consider Marco to be beautiful, Joe?
I didn't think so, but
okay,
maybe not necessarily. Maybe not necessarily horrific, but maybe not necessarily.
Sure.
Marco.
I honestly, actually, part of what my thought process with him is that he's kind of actually semi-nondescript, and that's what makes him kind of good at all of this, is he can kind of blend in and such. So
look, on a scale of Dom and Purity to Marco, there is quite a gap. Let's be frank.
But I just want to say, in the hacking world on GitHub, his code is beautiful.
Right. His code is beautiful. Yeah.
So yeah, I'd like my extra benefit to be that there is a pause before he calls for help, as he looks up and is just.
Let's say the bullet obviously doesn't cause any real harm, but it does still have that sort of impact, that punch. So it punches him back against the wall, and then there's a pause before he calls out the goons, so to speak. So Purity, let's come around to you. So you've seen, what's happened. Your crew are up. You spot them up there doing their thing. You're in this shoulder deep water. What would you like to do?
So, if it seems like this is causing a distraction, enough of a distraction, Purity will attempt to navigate themselves over to the angel and attempt to free them. The failsafe in the back of Purity's mind, and this may be completely impossible, is to exchange places via the soul, if nothing else, but ultimately like to get the angel out of these restraints, out of this machine. If the easiest way to do that is to plant some charges around the base and just take the whole thing and fall backwards into the water with it, to do that. But if they can unlock and release the angel, then they'll do that.
Sure. I think, because of how Dom set it up, you actually don't have a distraction yet. As far as these guys down below are concerned, nothing's happening. So I think you could certainly sneak over there. There's a lot of darkness. There's spotlights and electric lights that are highlighting certain areas, but there's a lot of darkness through this place. So
perfect. Let's try that then.
Let's use your intrusion to get over there and then see how that goes.
Yeah. All right. So let me take a look.
So you get the gray die. You got intrusion, so you get the expertise die. Do you wish to use your stress die?
Yes. I've still got a 4 in that, right? Let's see. Yeah, so I'm just going to try to get over there. Let's see how this goes. Oh, I only got a 3 in my expertise.
A 3.
Yeah.
All right. So this is the move, maintaining your cover. So when you're at risk of exposure, Roll a d6. We get a 1 to 3. So you are blown. Choose to either get caught or mark heat and flee for your life. So on your way over there, you know, one of these black robe figures steps out of the darkness right near you and yells out in check, you know, and several of the other black robe figures turn in your direction.
Yeah, I feel like I'm being encumbered by these chains too that are probably making more noise or glinting off the light.
Yeah, let's say you got there and you started to monkey with the chains, and, you know.
So
that and all your loud muttering that you're doing as well.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I am muttering. My eyes are rolling in my head. I'm not completely on mission.
Alan just reminded us of something though in the chat,
mark
which
your
is
specialism.
Once per operation, you can mark a stress if you're doing something that's part of your specialty, and you can increase your result by 1 result. So you could go from the 1 to 3 to the 4 to 5 result.
I think so. I just add a stress box.
You would add a stress box.
Okay,
yeah.
but
take a stress, and
I'm gonna mark my specialism, right?
Perfect.
And then I add another box to my stress.
Yeah, only 5.
Okay, yeah, I'm good.
So
6
so
of you
as
broken.
he can use his intel at any point here to reduce his stress by 1, can't he?
Once it gets to 4 or higher, yep. So he definitely qualifies.
So
now you could do that, or you might just to put in your mind, you can do that. You can spend an intel to get it back below 5, or you could take a look at the Seek Relief from Horror moves and think about what you can do on the fly here. And remember, you can always bring them in at any time. You could yell out some nastiness. You could have a flashback of some sort. You know, give us a window into your mind. There's a lot of ways you can play with this. So
yeah, I don't know which. Here's what I'm thinking, and you can guide me to which Seek Relief this might make sense. So probably like right as I'm stopped by the cultists, probably get a flashback to my upbringing in the cell, where we probably dressed like cultists, and probably like on a training mission, like didn't succeed, and I was going to be reprimanded, and then there I see my anchor come to me in this flashback, and he chastises me about my performance, and then I have to have greater faith in the higher power of the angels. And so it's this learning opportunity. I'm not like beaten because I'm intervened by my anchor, and instead of like actually being hit, they verbally try to help me understand why we're here and why this is important, and to be quiet, to be stealthy, and to be able to do this like the angels is an important part of my training here.
And your anchor is your brother, right?
Yeah, my brother. He grew up with me in this cult. Yeah.
Okay. So that sounds like seek solace in a relationship. If you say something new about your anchor, 1+. So we're going to roll a 6-sided die. But first of all, you immediately reduce your stress by 1.
Okay.
So go ahead and reduce down to 4. And then you're going to roll a single die. And on this one, 1+, we automatically are going to add your anchor to the target list.
Okay, so I'm going to reroll my stress die.
Okay. And this, all it matters is if you get a 6, you'll relieve an extra point of stress.
I got it, a 6.
You did. All right. So I think you, if I remember,
I think there's only a 6 on that dice.
I think that's all I get today.
It was really worth it. That memory, that momentary memory, reduces your stress by an extra 1.
Oh, wow.
So that really worked out. All it cost you is adding your brother to the target list.
No problem.
So there's a little box next to your brother.
All right, let's go down there.
Yeah, if you look at your anchor, there's a little box that says target. Just light up that box.
Cut to bus trundling downhill as brother steps from curb.
Yeah, he's backpacking into trouble now.
Right. Okay, so that takes us back to your initial roll. So that moves it up to a 4 or 5, which means that you're maintaining your cover perfectly.
Okay.
And you get over there. I'm going to say, because if you got a 6, I would have let you go ahead and get the angel out all in one motion. But I'm going to say that action takes you over there, starting to try to figure out a way to get these chains off.
Maybe like Yeah, like the cultists come nearby, and I remember that story, and I blend into the shadow with the water and everything, and I'm like hearing my brother's words, and then the cultist turns and goes back.
Mm-hmm. So let me say now then the green psycho, the green-haired hacker, has recovered, bounced off the wall, and you see him go to the computer and he taps a few things and he grabs a satchel and he turns and starts to run towards the back. And you see just in the shadow, you didn't see it before, but there's a break in the wall, in this old stone wall. There's a break in it that he looks like he's heading for this crack in the wall to make his escape. So let's go around our second round of actions before this ritual is finished. Who wants to pick up? Can we go back to Dom?
Shoot him again.
You want to shoot him again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lower back this time. I want to at least cause him to fall over before he gets to that gap in the wall.
Okay. So let's do it again. Same dice, probably.
Or would you be able to shoot something in the wall to make a partial cave in so you couldn't get out?
Yeah, that might be on the 6+.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the bullet goes through him, and I'm going to roll all 4 dice again. Am I at risk?
Still no.
Okay. Okay, so stress goes up by 1 because the 5 is equal to or higher than. On a 5, I succeed, but not brilliantly. So my objective here is to delay him. Right, that's my description of success. I'm not expecting to kill him anymore. I just want to put him down to buy us a bit more time.
Right. So you hit him center mass this time because you're looking to, bounce him around as much as possible with just the concussive power of this sniper bullet. And you do so. You knock him to the side.
And I'm hoping someone might want to declare a deterrent because if we can get to vulnerability before he leaves the room, guys.
It's true.
How do we declare deterrent?
So you have your intel. If you use a point of intel, you can declare a weakness. On a supernatural, you have to work your way up the list. So you start by declaring a compulsion, which Alan has done. Now, since you have a compulsion of psycho, you can now declare a deterrent. Once you declared a deterrent, then you can declare a vulnerability. That's where, and when a creature has regenerate, you need a vulnerability to take them out. To finish them, you have to have some sort of vulnerability. You can't just take them out through, classic means.
So would like silver bullet or something like that be a deterrent?
I think deterrent.
Yeah.
If you check the drop down.
There's a drop down. You go to the supernatural tab. Across from where psycho is, there is salt or mineral. I think we could call that.
Yeah.
And while we're here, by the way, I'm going to add a deterrent. I gave it away for free, or you really kind of declared it, earned it last time, which is salt or mineral on the angel, which is silver. Mm-hmm. Silver is a deterrent for the angel. So I'm adding that, but if you want to add a deterrent for psycho, you certainly could. All it costs you is a point of intel.
I'm fine with using one of my intel points.
I've got 3, so I could use one as well.
Okay,
does that count as my next action, or is it just using a deterrent?
So let's have salt and mineral. I'll add that, and then we'll go over, and you can add silver to our text there. I guess maybe I should put it down a line. Never mind. Hold on. We'll put it down a line below there, and just write in silver off to the right under notes. So psycho is deterred by silver. And then if you want to, Marco, you could declare a vulnerability now that you guys have one of a compulsion and a deterrent. You've earned the right to have a vulnerability.
Let's see.
Feel free for what clarification what those vulnerabilities mean.
Yeah. So I mean, if we're saying salt or mineral, like if the vulnerability is vulnerable to, it feels like that flows right into
if you want silver to be able to kill it, you would declare extreme deterrence. So that would take our already decided deterrent and not only make it a deterrent, but also make it something that can actually truly harm it. So that would be the route that you go
Yeah,
about doing that.
let's do that.
Okay.
I don't know why we wouldn't.
Sure, it makes sense.
It's like-
So go ahead and select extreme deterrence. I'm going to put it down just a line below because then we can put in the separate details silver. So I think we've got it. So we know that it's fascinated by beauty, it is deterred by silver, and it's vulnerable to silver. And you two guys each be sure to remove an intel point. That sets us up for our second round of actions before the ritual stops. It's 10 o'clock. Let's take our break. Let's just take a 5-minute break and we'll come back and finish off this fight. See you in 5.
What a cliffhanger. I'm developing the same problem I had last time, Jason, which is when we finished, I was quite sore from my constant grinning. It is so exciting to see other people play a game.
This is the first time you've seen someone else play your game too?
Yeah.
Great. I saw Will was offering to play it. Did he offer it? I don't remember.
He's quite keen. Yeah. I think he's waiting for the final version.
Sure. Yeah, it's not bad to run. It kind of runs itself more or less, so it's not bad at all. No news from Steven, so I think we'll probably be playing without him today. Who knows?
Shall we assume that Carla is all the way back at the way in.
I think when they when Purity and Carla went down those tubes, one tube took her somewhere else. We'll figure that out, next time. So she's not actually here.
No, I think that's the safest solution.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've just noticed David suggesting I should shoot the bag. That might not have been a bad idea.
Mm.
We have a second round of action about to happen.
Sure. Although I guess Dom took
what-
your second action. You took your second action.
I'm done until we
Yeah,
come round
yeah,
again. So
yeah.
Marco, no pressure. Stop the demonic hacker.
And we can play with time quite a bit, time and space. So even though in one way you might be like, only a few seconds have passed, we certainly could see Marco down the stairs doing something down there. We're using cinema logic. Real time is not important.
Yeah, it's already taken him quite a long time to make those 4 steps to the hole in the wall.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So Alan, when they say that who's going to save Christmas, is this like because you can't get anything? Because I know they've been telling us like before Halloween, they were saying even if you order now, you might not get your stuff when you want it. So
yeah, that's even to the point of the Christmas turkey. Serious business.
Yes. Yeah, we've seen, obviously things are delayed, but I think here anyway, it feels like that applies more heavily to like the prized, like especially on the kids side, like if there's the toy or the things you want to get them. My youngest daughter is 16, so we don't have a lot of, she wanted I guess I could say she wanted a Nintendo Switch, those little handheld ones. We bought that a month ago because that was one that I'm like, that might get kind of sketchy, but so far we've been fortunate. So
okay, let's get back at it. So as we mentioned, Dom has taken her second action. So if you want to stop the ritual, it's down to Purity and Marco. Who wants to go next?
So here's what I was thinking. He's killed the 2 guards. If I remember correctly, we established that they had automatic rifles on them.
Yep.
So my thought is that he was going to pick up one of the just automatic rifles, and I don't know, I guess I have to decide this on my own kind of, but I was actually thinking of just unloading on the recipient of the angels and thing. So maybe not so much on the hacker side of thing, but I'm thinking if we put a bunch of hot lead into the meat sack that is that is being created down there, that should effectively stop it may not save the angel, but it will. I feel like he's thinking it would effectively stop the ritual. So he's going to grab one of those rifles and I would assume from that catwalk, he should be able to unload into into all of the stuff right there, specifically trying to kill, destroy. I mean, I would assume in his head, kill the bullets into meat sack will be detrimental,
Sure.
as well as any of that equipment, like if hoses and tubes and stuff get in there as well. So that's what he's going to do.
So general mayhem.
Basically.
General mayhem. Sure. All right, let's go to the dice. So that is the gray die, expertise for small arms. And do you wish to include your stress die?
Of course I do.
Okay.
So let me ask a clarifying question. Would deadly be appropriate here, or is that just a tag on your own character sheet?
If it was a heavy weapon, I think, is it heavy weapons, or if you have deadly, you can use that other die, but I don't think he has either.
It's deadly expertise or a weapon with the explosive tag.
Okay.
So sadly, no.
All righty. Oh, so stress, expertise, and gray die.
Yep.
And rolling.
All right, that's a
All
good
right.
roll. All right, you got a 5. It's not on the stress. So we are doing the move. I don't know if this is confront them or would this be. I think it's probably do something else. Let's see how that result looks like. You succeed with no obvious complication or benefit. I think that sounds about right. So yeah, you fire down there. Your bullets, hit into all, into the pipes, into the whatever the weird infernal machine is. You crack and bust through the glass and steel enclosure around the meat. You blast it into chunks. Um, this angelic energy flows out, and that overheated infernal engine starts getting super, super, super cherry red hot now. Without the water flow is stopped. The pipes were drawing water from that pool that Purity was in. It was splashing it along here to keep it cool. But now that you've damaged this machinery, that it seems to be overheating very quickly. Purity. And I'll say the flow of angelic energy is sort of like it's still being drawn away from the angel, but now it's just sort of like spraying out into the chamber, which is probably harmless, right?
And I guess at this point, I'm assuming that there is probably general mayhem amongst the
Right.
business casual crowd down in the
Right.
down on the
They're
first
they're
floor.
trying to work their way up that catwalk. They haven't spotted that the two of you are there, and they're fleeing. And the guys with the ropes, the black robes, are like scurrying about, also looking for someone. And a couple of them have found you, Purity, and they're moving on you. A couple of these black robes, and they pull out these daggers.
Sure. Yeah, I've seen those in the catalogs. They're pretty cool. I am going to attempt to free the angel before the cultists can get to us.
Sure.
And I'm willing to be the human shield in the way of this.
Okay.
And I've got these chains too that should hopefully help protect me from serious knifing. Yeah, that's right. Free the angel, save the world. So that's what I'm going to do. I don't know if this is do something else or what.
I think that freeing the angel is probably easy if you can hold off these assailants.
Uh-huh.
So I think it's gonna be a confront them roll.
Oh, cool.
So
Let's see what that looks like.
you're trying to hold them off so you can free this angel.
Yeah, it's
That's
almost
kind of
like cover fire, but from a melee point of view.
Sure. So let's give you the gray die.
Okay.
And you have hand to hand, so you get the expertise die. Do you wish to include your stress die?
Yes.
Now, this is our first opportunity to use the risk die. So at the bottom, you see there's 5 risk die.
Yeah.
And I want you to highlight the first 2. The first one is just because you're being attacked, and the second one is because you're outnumbered.
Okay.
There's a couple of these guys. So highlight 2 of those risk die and roll them all together.
So when I highlight one's highlighted. When I highlight another one, the other one becomes unhighlighted. Okay, I think it's got a shadow, so maybe that's enough. All right.
Yeah, I think it's working.
Okay, so let's see. All right, I think I've got 5 dice selected.
That's right.
Let's go ahead and see what happens here. All right.
Okay, so your highest die on your dice is a 4.
Yep.
It's on the stress. It's not on the stress die, so your stress does not increase. The risk die is equal to or higher than your die, so you are going to have to roll for that.
Okay.
But you get a 4 on confront them, which is a normal success. So I think you hold them off. The actual act of getting the chains off are not that hard. They haven't really locked it down or anything. You just sort of like take it off a latch. This angel was sort of out of it, but you see this angelic energy starting to flow back to this angel very quickly, the Michelle Pfeiffer angel, and its strength is returning very quickly. You can feel this powerful, energy and power that this thing has. Now, so on confront them, you have to roll a consequence. So if you go to that tab, it says harmful consequences. If any risk die is equal to or greater than your highest roll, you have to roll a consequence. So these are nameless pawns. So you're going to roll a single die and add 3, and you want to roll high.
I want to roll high. Okay.
Yeah.
I am gonna just reroll my risk die. That was a 4. All right. 6.
Is there anything we can do to aid him in this at this point?
No,
Okay.
no.
I got a
All right, but
6 on that.
sorry, you're on
All
your
right.
own.
So you got a 6. You get to add 3. They're nameless pawns. If you do the math, nameless pawns can't really hurt you guys. But because you got a 6, you also gain intel. In fighting them, you learn something that earns you an intel. But that was close. You know, their daggers come at you. Maybe you see the daggers have like some sort of like demonic runes on them, like whatever the opposite of Enochian is. You know, you recognize, you know, that these are weapons of some ill intent. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah, I don't know if this matters or not in this game, but maybe does it identify like a particular demonic cult or just that it's evil?
Let's save that for the debrief. You know, maybe you
Okay.
put that in your brain and we can burn that intel
Yeah.
if you want to define that. But for now, give yourself an intel if you haven't already. And
Alrighty.
you have to roll for stress because of the implication of these demonic weapons.
All right, so I'm re-rolling my
roll that
stress
green
die,
Yep.
and I got a 3, which is equal or lower than my current stress.
All right, you're cool. So you hold these guys off. You pull this angel free. I think at this point there's a thunderclap of energy. The angel, you know, the chains fall away. The angel spreads its arms. These wings, you know, these angelic, you know, wings sprout out. It sort of like hovers up in the air, and this angelic energy flows out and just vaporizes several of these demonic figures. A it looks at you and it smiles and it whispers, you know, thank you, my son. And a portal opens behind it, and you see through this portal the green fields, blue skies, you know, the fluffiest clouds you've ever seen. And it flows into this portal, and the portal just like closes and disappears. Okay.
I'm probably on my knees, like in prayer throughout this. Yeah.
Right. I think the everybody's running at this point. What's left of the black robed guys are running. There's no fight in them. They're out of here. You know, the meat machine blows up, you know, there's an explosion and it melts down. Whatever was going on there is ended. The only thing left is you look over and you see that green-haired psycho slipping through that gap in the wall. Does anybody want to chase them or let them go?
Is there any chance I can go?
No, go for it. Go for it.
Is there any chance I can squeeze off a shot with this silver bullet that I pull out of my breast pocket?
Sure. I think you need a contact to have established that. Yeah.
So I think that if we cut back to Georgi, the fixer, we didn't notice it earlier, but when Dom flipped open, I will burn a point of stress to call it contact. Sorry. When she flipped open the briefcase, there was, you know, it looks like a single silver bullet, and so she chambers the round. And as he's going through the gap, I'm looking to just bring him down. Right. I need to stop him getting through there. That's my objective. You know.
Okay. Sure.
Maybe, you know, blow a knee out. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I am going to seek relief from the horror as I do this by conjuring up a picture of my ex-girlfriend, Maisie. And I just want to remember the ordinary life in her bedsit in London, and just a recollection of being there with her as I just breathe out on the last note of all things bright and beautiful and squeeze off this silver bullet. So I'd like to reduce my stress by 1, roll the stress dice on its own. Hang on. I was getting ahead of myself. Roll the stress dice on its own. and put Maisie. Oh, one. That's just, not even the benefit of an extra. So I will put Maisie on the target list.
Great.
The cheap and cheerful way to reduce stress. And then I'll include my stress dice on the shot. Yeah.
All right. Yep. And there's no opposition. There's no risk die.
Let's see how that goes then. Oh, a 6.
On the deadly die. Perfect.
6 on the deadly dice.
So you are going, you get an intel on that too, right?
I do.
So go ahead and give yourself an intel. We're going to have you roll for stress, but we'll establish that. So I think what happens is you hit him solidly, you jam him to the side. What would you like your extra benefit to be, and what is it that's scary about this?
I think that I would like my extra benefit to be that he is incapacitated for a short period of time. So, I've kept him this side of that gap for a little bit longer. But the scary thing is that when he bleeds from this silver bullet, he bleeds black icon.
All right. Perfect. So
and I'll roll the stress die.
Go ahead.
Ooh, that's okay. Just
okay. So you hit him. It does hurt him for real. So that's why we see that black ichor. It doesn't kill him. It shoves him to the side. He's sitting there. And I think it's easy for Purity to come up and wrap those silver chains around him, right? That seems appropriate. And I believe that's the end of the operation. Hooray!
Thank you for helping me save the angel.
Yeah, you can't believe how tempting it was to use that silver bullet differently.
Okay, so now what we do, let's cut to your safe house sometime thereafter. And we're going to see, well, I guess, actually first, you've got a prisoner. Start thinking about leads that might lead you into your second operation. We won't talk about it quite yet, but start thinking about like things that, dangling plot points and ideas. But you have a prisoner. You have Psycho, I'm going to say he's Russian. Does that work for you, Marco? He's a Russian, maybe Ukrainian. I should probably define one of the other because I know the Ukrainians and the Russians don't really like mesh very well together these days. Let's say
I think that's my role to mesh them all together culturally. So
yeah,
not American, American.
Right.
And I can speak in Russian or whatever if you want to go that route.
Sure. Let's say he's Ukrainian. I think everyone in Ukraine speaks Russian, so I think that all works. You can. He'll speak English too, so it doesn't matter. So you have him as a prisoner back in your safe house. Alan, tell me what your interrogation room looks like, and everybody think about who wants to be part of an interrogation of Psycho.
I definitely want to be part of the interrogation of Psycho. I think that this is our safe house is part of this ghost station on the Bucharest underground, and I think probably there's a small. It was probably a tool storage or some kind of cleaning store when it was built, but now it's where we interrogate him.
Okay.
And I think I can't remember. Let me just check where my lines and veils are here. We have veiled torture by the PC, so I think that probably Dom is going to be using her authority expertise to apply some pressure to him, and we probably maybe veil it by seeing him hanging from a meat hook in the middle of this ceiling, while Dom smiles and picks up a rubber hose.
What would you guys think about spending an intel to try to turn him and reinsert him as a mole for us? I'd be willing to spend the intel. So
okay, yeah, we won't do that until you get the interrogation. and then we'll decide what you want to do with them. But certainly that can color the interrogation.
Okay.
Trying to turn him into a mole, and we'll assume you're going to make that happen. So we can have the conversation go in that direction. Does anyone else want to be present for the interrogation?
Maybe Dom is just going to show him the rubber hose then, if that's the end game.
Sure.
So I think given that fiction, I would want to be, given my history with this person, would be involved in that as well. And so I mean, this is super trite, but like there's an element of good cop, bad cop here, right? So Dom is nasty cop, and I'm, trying to appeal to his whatever he would appeal to, whether it's greed, his life, whatever. So
I think he says something like, I owe nothing to these people. If you want me to get back in there, all you need to do is, establish, create a trail of how I screwed you all over. Give me some, false information that I can go back to my bosses and say, I escaped, and look, I also got all this information on these people. And it's all false, though. It's all going to lead the conspiracy in the wrong direction, at least temporarily. So yeah, I think that's all Psycho asks of you. Purity, do you want to be present? Hold on one minute.
So do we know if Psycho has always been a supernatural, or if this is like one of the perks of working with this new client? Because
I think that would have to be through the interrogation to find that.
Because I would be considering either threatening or actual to exercise the supernatural capabilities from them, turning them into a normal person.
Okay. So let's say you're present too. We'll come back around. So what we're going to do now is sort of like you're going to each have another investigation role using these techniques to try to get information from Psycho. So let's go in the order that we introduced each of you here. So Dom, you looks like you're using your authority.
I am.
Do you
I
wish
want to
use
scare
your
the
stress?
living shit out of this guy.
Sure. And after this, we'll have some chances to reduce your stress too. So if you want to use stress, go ahead.
And maybe we see Dom just playing with the silver chains that we have, because we know he does not like silver. The rubber hose maybe he can recover from. And yes, I think I will include my stress dice.
Okay.
Pushing
so
it, but you never know your luck.
Sure.
That's 5 on the stress dice. Stress goes up. She's now humming Jerusalem under her breath.
So you're going to get the basic information and then one question. What was the main kind of stuff you're trying to learn? I don't recall.
I think that what I think is important is we know where's the next link in the conspiracy. So I'm hoping we get some clue about who he reports to.
Sure. I'm not sure. And these is it open for statement, or should this just the control decide these?
This should be for you, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I hope it's okay with everybody, but I think he points you towards someone high up in the MI6. Maybe very close to the top. I'll leave that to you guys. But it'll provide you a lead if you want to follow a lead into MI6's operation. That he points you in that direction. Then you're allowed a question. That's your basic information.
Yeah, and I think that my question is about whether he is he a demon, or has he been granted powers by a demon? How did he get to be the way he is I suppose the question.
He says, a demon has provided me my power. Yeah. I cannot die through the act of man.
Well, and then Dom just kind of wiggles the silver chain.
Right. Let's go to Marco then. So Marco, you've kind of promised him this sort of this way of getting back into the organization without being fingered. And what kind of basic information are you after? What would you like to learn from Psycho?
I'm wondering. I'm almost kind of stepping back from the reinsertion. Just he's obviously so like we're establishing that he is more than just a they paid me good money to do this, right? So he took something here, and I'm kind of stepping back and wondering if he's a good candidate for a mole, because he's clearly more invested in the darkness than we thought. I don't know. What do you? I'd be open to what you guys think
Well, you
about
certainly
that.
could have lied to him. There's no reason you had to tell the truth, right? So
All right.
let's say you've laid that out in front of him, but maybe you'll change the tune. But let me get back to that question. What is it you would like to learn from Marco?
So we know. Any help, guys? I'm trying to think what else we might want to learn, because I mean, we know the kind of the next chain.
So I think if we were thinking about this in terms of, and Alan, please correct me, if we're doing this like in a spy genre or something, we want to learn more about what we're going to be up against.
Yeah.
Right? Because if we're planning to pursue this lead, then we're going to want to know, like, what are their resources, what is the opposition, where's the location, like
Yeah.
that sort of thing is what I'm thinking.
That's good. Like, so maybe just some basic sense of, clearly we saw something with that whole setup would give us a sense of, wow, there's this wasn't some dashed together sort of enterprise, right? There's and clearly they have somebody knows how to build these kind of biotech supernatural imposed machines. I think I'd kind of like to know about that, right? Like how where are they getting that information, or how have they learned all of that stuff?
Okay. So let's roll the dice and then we'll figure out what you learn here then. So you're going to get the gray die. You get, I think your impressive digital intrusion skills will give you that orange die. Do you wish to include your stress die?
Yes.
All right, roll
And
the
now
three of them.
I'm getting to the point where I'm not as cavalier about using my but knowing that we're going to have an opportunity to misbehave and attempt to get our stress back. All right, so all three of those.
A three. A three gives you just the basic information, and in addition, you let something slip.
Is there an opportunity to use the specialism here? I have hacker as a specialism. No,
not in the debrief. No, no.
Okay.
Sorry. So you are stuck.
It's not that it's the debrief. It's that hacker doesn't help.
That's what I was.
Okay. So I think what happens is in trying to set up this information, with your computer, Psycho says, "Oh no, you need to put a backspace there," and you don't know it, but Psycho knows that sends out a signal to the conspiracy. That backspace in that one particular spot, for some reason in that code, sends off a bit of an alarm. So that's going to increase the heat. Let me go over and do that. The heat goes up. After this, we'll talk about what happens because you completed the mission. Actually, heat will go down some, but it goes up for now, and you're just going to get the basic information. I think he says, about the biotech, he says you wouldn't believe how many ex-Soviet scientists are for hire these days. We've got a whole bunch of them working. So I think that's probably just the basic information there. Let's go to Purity then. So Purity, remind me again, what was your approach? You're offering some sort of succor from this demonic possession or whatever?
It sounds like we already learned that this person was augmented with demonic power.
Right.
So I think if we're considering if we need leverage, part of that could be to threaten or actually take away their demonic juju. But I don't know if that's worth bringing up at this point. If we can find out like more specifically about if there's a specific demon branch or something that would help us to take down the organization, that's probably more helpful.
Could we learn something about the nature of the demon? Maybe we could learn a compulsion that his demon master has. That would set us on the road.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, I like it. You mentioned the word threatening, so that sounds like that would be authority, which I don't believe you have. Larceny, intrusion, or persuasion. I guess, do you want to aim at more of a persuasive sort of approach?
Yeah, I think we can go any number of ways. Or I can't speak from the companions because they may not be true believers like you or I in the supernatural world. But there's potentially hope for your existence to continue in this world or the next if you work with us to take down your boss.
Okay, let's go to the dice.
Dom continues to thwack the silver chains into the palm of her hand. Dom would very much like to strip the demonic powers out of this individual.
Right. So
you get the gray die, you get the orange die. Do you wish to include your stress die?
Yes. Okay. I don't have any explosive words at the moment. All right, let's do this. Oh, I got a 6 on the gray die.
All right, great. That's a perfect roll. So you are going to get the basic information. You're going to get 2 questions, and you also gain an intel. I think he says to you, he says, "My demonic master," and he maybe instead of seeing demons, you have to sort of have this guttural chant. So he chants this harsh sounding thing. You all shiver, hearing this. So that's kind of scary. I'll let the table decide what's the demon master's name. Anybody have a thought or an interest in one or the other?
Let's just go with the Bible. We'll just say Azrael.
Azrael. Okay.
I'll just choose one of those.
Sure. So Azrael is the demon lord that he has granted him his regenerative powers. And this chanting of that name is scary to you, so you have to roll for stress.
Okay. Let's roll for stress. I got a 2.
All right. You're cool. You've got the power of your angel behind you. So you're able to fight this off, knowing that you've got someone with your back. So, like I said, give yourself an intel if you haven't already. Okay. So the basic information is, like I said, he tells you that this Azrael is his demonic master, and then you're allowed to ask 2 questions.
So I do want to get that compulsion mechanic in there too. Do I just spend an intel for that?
No, I think you could use one of these questions for that too.
Okay.
So you could be like, what compels Azrael?
What compels Azrael?
All right. So then you can go ahead and define it. I'm going to add a new one here. We'll have Azrael. Azrael.
Is there a drop-down list of these, or do we just create?
Yeah, if you go to Supernatural, if you go to Compulsion, next you see where I have Azrael, the Demon Lord. You go over to Compulsion, and you can hit that arrow, and there's a list. Okay,
let's do that. All right, so what do we got? Addicted, attracted, down. Huh. Let me describe what I'm thinking. We'll see if one of these fits. Okay. So say what they're compelled by is that they want to be worshipped.
Okay.
What would
I would say
addicted to worship?
Sure.
Addicted to mortal prayer?
Yeah, like they get power from feeling like they're worshipped, like like influencers on social media.
Sure. Love it. So go ahead and
there's a whole demonic subclass there.
So
do I just write in what it is? Addicted to worship?
Under the detail, yep. Addicted to worship or mortal worship, mortal, prayer or something like that. Great. And then you get a second thing. What else would you like to ask?
I don't know if I can get a deterrent as well from this.
Sure.
All right, let me see here. I don't know if this makes sense. Does it have to be like one of these, or can it be something else?
You can make something up.
Okay, so like, what if a deterrent is that, maybe this is too flimsy, but the truth that their worshippers really don't care? Is that too convoluted?
Having some of their true believers tell them that they don't care about them anymore, or they're not going to worship them any longer, something like that. The what would be a better way of phrasing that?
It's kind of like they don't really believe in them. They just want the glory or the power. Like the faith isn't real.
Oh, okay. Sure. So if they're exposed to the fact that their followers are just faking it, that will deter them. It'll shock them or something, right? So I think, and you're getting some of that from Psycho. Psycho's like, look, I mean, I like to not be able to die, but this whole demon lord thing is kind of overrated.
He's not a true believer.
Right.
He checks the box. Yeah, I believe you, but not really.
Before you commit to that one,
okay,
how would you operationalize that in a scene?
Yeah, no, that's a good question.
Because it's a neat narrative.
I don't know if that is an applicable thing for this mechanic. I think
as you describe it, yeah, the only way you could use it mechanically is if you somehow had one of his believers,
sure,
recorded them or something saying, he's a bunch of bollocks, I don't believe any of that bullshit. That might shock them, or have them say that in front of them, but you would have to expose,
right.
you have to present that right to the face of the demon lord to get any
So
advantage.
If we got Psycho's confession, would that be enough?
Yeah. I'm perfectly happy for you to say that you just recorded what he said,
Yeah. So I'm going to put symbol of
disbelief.
Disbelief. Thank you.
Okay.
Another way that kind of thing could play out is if like in an operation, the believers, instead of like a demon might believe, well, they would all fight until they died to fulfill things. But if they're like, oh crap, this isn't, I was just interested in getting power. If my life's at risk, I'm out of here, right?
Those cultists that ran away.
Yeah.
Bravely ran away.
I don't know if that. Yeah.
Okay, great. So I think that is the interrogation. You guys can think about what you want to do with him. Let me, before I forget, give you the boons of succeeding in your mission. So the mission was to prevent the ritual or stop the ritual, which you did. Because of that, we reduced the heat by 1. Each of you can reduce your stress by 1. Did the team finish a supernatural? If yes, reduce the heat by 1. I think I would say yes. I think capturing this guy counts as finishing a supernatural. So let's reduce the heat by 2 then, and each of you reduce your stress by 1. So the heat's not bad at all.
So so it's a total of reducing it by stress by 2.
No, just 1.
Just total 1.
Yeah, total of 1. Alan, correct me.
I hate to do this, but I think that we owed you a heat, because when Purity failed in that effort to sneak up, you mark the heat.
Yeah.
But then you can improve the outcome.
Yeah, and I was just thinking too, there's also the thing, like if you finish a supernatural, you immediately fill up to the suspicious. I remember that. So I think what we'll do, we'll say you filled it up to suspicious because you captured this guy. But now, because you succeeded, we'll reduce it by 2. So we'll leave it with 2 boxes. How's that sound?
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
And we're still reducing our stress by 1?
Yes. Reduce your stress by 1, just 1. That's for success. Okay. All right. So in the debrief,
could Marco do like what is that series, or Seek Relief, if he wanted to?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So we're going to have an opportunity to do that now. So you finished your interrogation. Let's say, start, your scenes here in the safe house, but you can take it out into the city wherever you want. frame any sort of seek relief from the horror
Can
scenes you
we
want to have?
decide what we can we decide what we're going to do with Psycho first?
Sure. Let me
'Cause
also
I think
add,
we ought to just
there's one other thing too I just want to put in your mind as we do that. But also, we're going to go and define, if you look at the character sheet, which member of the team do you care most and least about? We're going to define that here too. So yeah, Alan, do you have any ideas about what to do with Psycho?
I really like the idea of reinserting him.
Yeah, I think I'm good
spend
with
an
that.
intel and put him back because he becomes a contact for whoever spends the intel.
I think I'd be willing to spend the intel.
Yeah, I've got 3 intel, so whatever. Yeah.
Okay. So you spend intel to provide fictional cover for the prisoner's reinsertion into the conspiracy as a mole. The most appropriate operator adds them as an information broker. So Marco, it sounded like you were going to spend the intel. So go down to contacts, add Psycho, and expertise of information broker.
You still have to spend stress to use him, but he has some stuff that we might not get from everybody else.
Right.
And you said information.
Yep. Information broker. Yep.
And then I'll
So-
mark 1 intel off. I think fictionally that makes the most sense given that we have history. So
Sure. Yeah, let's leave it at that then. Let's move to, like I said, let's move to the part, line 28 going down. There's 2 questions. Which member of the team do you care most about? Which member of the team do you care least about? So let's go around the table and let's define those and just kind of give us a feel of what we see that shows, that you like this person or that you care least about this person. And remember, this isn't you hate them, isn't that you love them, it's you care the most about, you care the least about of the other members of the team. Dom, let's start with you. Which one would you like to define, and what is it we see that shows that?
I think we've already seen it. I think that in episode 1, where Dom was kind of getting at Purity for this shit, I think that of all the team, Dom would be prepared to leave if she had to leave Purity in a position of risk, because I'm not sure which side of the line. And I used to be a cog in the conspiracy, and I'm just worried that all this freaky spiritual shit puts Purity very close to that gray area. So yeah, I would like to say that it is Purity that I care least about.
Okay. And let's go over to Marco. Which one would you like to define? Care most about or care least about?
are we doing both of them or just one or the other?
We are. We'll go around twice.
Okay. So I think I'm going to choose that he cares most about Dom, and it has a lot to do with he is, I don't know if impressed or her single-minded, her focus around what she does, right? Like her confidence and that thing is it affects him in a way, whether it's impressed by or I'm losing the word. It's the sleep is catching up with me. There's another word other than impressed that I'm looking for, but just that single-mindedness of knowing who she is, what she does, and not being wishy-washy about it. And I guess, Alan, I think that's how I view the character. So
Okay, great. Let's move to Purity. Which one would you like to define here, David?
I kind of feel like if this was played out with Steven here, that they would have had more talking because they were together, kind of.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think.
In fact, if you guys want to save one, if you have one in mind for Carla, you can just leave it blank for now. It's hard because she's not there.
I think what I'm going to say is that because we haven't really done much team talk, I think that I care least about is Dom, because Dom seems adamantly refusing to be open to what's in our face, right? They even used a silver bullet. Like, that's a contradiction in itself. Using a supernatural weapon on someone, like, you have to acknowledge that. Until you can acknowledge, and not stop denying that this world exists, then you'll never truly understand the world around you.
Right. Okay, perfect.
I
Let's
think
go
you
around
just
again.
defined Dom's journey for this series.
Dom wants to deny what's right in front of her so far. All right, let's go around. Alan, it sounds like you need to define who you care most about.
I don't know. I think that, it's a tricky one, this, because I think I might want to hold that one until we're into the next one, so I get a better feel for Carmen, because I think there's a more obvious link to Carmen in terms of these kind of competent professionals, rather than the computer jockey and the loony.
Right. Okay, great. I'll just put a note here to remind myself to ask you about that next time. Let's go over to Marco. Do you want to define who you care least about?
I'll be honest with you. I had some of the very similar thoughts that Alan just said relative to the fact that Purity was part of a cult in a sense. But I think I don't want to just be like me too, right? So can I hold this one as well, and then
Sure.
hopefully Stephen will be with us next time, and maybe some other stuff plays out to see.
Yep. Yep, that works. Then David, would you like to define who you care about most?
I think it's going to be between Carla and Marco, so I'm going to wait and give a chance for Stephen to come back.
Okay. So then, let's go around and see if anybody has any secretly from the horror scenes in mind. Again, we'll start here sort of in the safe house, but you can sort of frame your scenes out in the city if you want. That's perfectly fine. Let's start with Alan. Does Dom have any secretly from the horror in mind?
Yeah. I want to reveal some of your history together. And I want to, if you reveal something new about your history with an operator you care most or care least about, so I'd like to reveal some of the history that I share with Purity. And I'm going to work through this list, I think, in the order it's there. So your first recollection of them. And I think that is probably in some kind of joint operation against the Liski Bratva that MI6 was involved in. And I think that it is probably, I think we flash back to Dom going through screens of members of the Black Bratva, and this young, fresh-faced kid comes up. I think that's my first recollection of coming across Purity, was as this fresh and turning to a colleague and saying, Jesus Christ, they're recruiting younger and younger. And that is my first recollection of Purity.
Okay.
And
so let's go ahead.
Roll the dice.
Yep. Reduce your stress
reduce
by one.
Reduce my stress. Thanks for the reminder, because too often do I forget that. And then roll a d6. I'll roll the stress dice. A 6.
Nice.
Right. 4+. The other operator describes a different version of these events. That could be the recruitment, I suppose. They say why they are hurt by it. They roll for stress, or they choose to add something about their anchor to their recollection. They mark their anchor. Ooh. But on a 6, it was really worth it. I will reduce stress by another 1.
Do you gain intel too, or no intel on this one? Okay.
No.
So yeah,
intel. I could do with some intel.
Purity, you have a different recollection of this, or you can add your anchor.
And I'm prepared to, then, so that flashback, and then I recount that to the group in the safe house.
Oh, I think I have a different recollection of this. I think, let's see here. So I feel like maybe like Dom doesn't even remember this. Like it's just for whatever reason, but maybe like I was assigned to Dom as like um, you were supposed to be my mentor, and like you either forgot or didn't sign the paper or whatever. Like maybe things were chaotic or rushed into a mission, and we just never got a good footing together. And I just sort of probably like instead of forcing it, I was young, I was new to this, still trying to get over my former life. Probably just found someone else to kind of help me through the organization, and you just never returned to me. And so I have this sort of like little seed of resentment, maybe.
Mhm.
And you know, as this heartless, soulless person whose only job is to kill people.
Mhm. Okay, so that sounds like the hurt, and you roll for stress.
All right. I hope I take stress on this. This seems so worth it. I got 2.
All
Okay.
the narrative meat and no mechanical abuse, you know.
Well, you still have that support of that angel. It seems like things aren't hurting you like they used to.
Oh no!
Right.
I've learned to not stay attached to people who are not believers as much.
Right.
Yeah.
You got a thick skin when it comes to these people.
Sure.
Marco, is there anything you'd like to do to seek relief from the horror?
All right, can you hear me okay? I had to
Yeah,
hop off
yep.
I don't know what it is. Like after an hour or so, it just stops working. It did for me yesterday. I don't, it gets tired maybe. So sorry about that.
No problem.
I kind of do.
If you want to think a little more, we can go to purity first.
Well, I want to, yeah, I want to think through this just for just a second. So
purity, is there anything you'd like to do to seek relief from the horror?
Yeah, I think what I want to do is reveal some of our history together. Let's see here, and maybe go with Marco if you're okay with that, Joe.
That would define Marco as one of your 2 secret.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I forgot about that.
All right, let me think then. Let me go through these moves. Let's see.
Yeah, it has to be one of the people you care most or care least about. Yeah.
Okay. I think given that we sort of alluded to this because I called on my anchor and we put them as a target, I think what I would probably do is go back to the church after the mission. Like go to like the normal church, sneak in because it's still under construction, and do the whole lighting a candle and saying a prayer and like talking to him even though he's not there, sort of thing.
Okay.
To like, I hope you're doing well. Almost like dear diary. We found a true angel. They're real. My faith is true, and and hopefully you will be safe, and that sort of thing.
Right. And I think we'll even say, given recent events, there's a little bit the altar lights up a little bit. There's a little bit of a glow. That angelic energy is still sort of there. So that gives you the sort of confidant that you're seeking the guidance of. So reduce your stress by 1.
Okay.
And roll a single die.
All right. Let's go to operator stress die. All right, stress. Come on, give me a 6. Oh, I got a 4, which is higher than my stress.
Yep. Mark heat and agree with control how they or what they say to you complicates the operation. What do you think complicates the operation here?
Oh, so I went back to the scene of the mission.
Yeah.
I feel like there's someone on the other side who's gone back to like survey the damage done. Mm-hmm. and they hear me talking about it and they observe me, so they probably see me as, oh, they're one of the operatives who is responsible for our failure today.
Yeah, I'm going to say we see a white, unmarked van parked outside, and we see there's a little camera in the I don't know the terms for the different parts of a cathedral, but the part where you're at praying, there's a camera that zeroes in on you, and you see it go zzz, and we see inside the van, and sitting there is like an IT person, but also Nigel, Dom's MI6 guy was mentioned last time.
Could there be sitting next to him one of the cultists who got away?
Sure. He's got black robes on, but he's typing away on a computer. Sure.
Perfect.
Great. So that'll increase our heat by 1.
I was just assuming Nigel was one of the cultists. We just didn't see his face yet.
That'll be revealed later.
Yeah, it could be. All right. Let's see. Is there anything else on that roll? Seek relief from the horror. Mark heat. Nope. Looks like that's it for that one. Let's go back to Marco.
Was that look for guidance?
I thought it was. Was that look for guidance? Is that what you're aiming at, David? You're muted.
You're still muted, David.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I was just sort of narrating, framing a scene.
Yeah, I assumed that was looking for guidance.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there is another bit of that 4+.
Marquis, you cannot go back to them for support until you demonstrate that their faith in you is justified by fulfilling some task or requirement the control describes. Okay. So, what task? So you hear that clearly it's going to be that angelic, warm, angelic voice, but without any of that background screaming. This is an angelic choir. Is the background note in this speech, and it tells you.
I have an idea if you want.
Yeah, go ahead and throw it out. I have one too, but let's see what we got.
That I need to spread the word.
Okay.
And obviously, I'm going to start with my team and try to make them believers.
Okay. I'm trying to think how to mechanize that, if that would work. Yeah, I think this will probably maybe like acting badly. Sort of if you're like this overbearing sort of zealot, that comes at them. I think, yeah, let's go with that. So the angel says, you walk the earth amongst those that are not part of our people. Bring them into the flock. Until then, do not come to me again.
Yeah, so if it's almost like this angel's acting like Azrael.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, perfect.
All right. Let's go around again. Does anyone have any other seeking relief from the horror they'd like to do?
Yeah, so I'm either going to, I'm trying to, it's either going to be, I have 2 thoughts here that maybe, because, he went way up in stress, right? But then it's been relieved. So it was very stressful. So part of me is thinking it might make sense if he tries to maybe try to check in or on his daughter somehow, right? And just see her, whether it's he contacts the person who, and just to check in somehow. And I don't know if that's maybe there's some way that he can do that without physically, unless from a timing perspective, because I don't imagine that his daughter is in Prague, right? That she's off somewhere else. But
it doesn't matter. We just have a cut scene.
Sure.
Showing why we, the audience, should care when she's taken off the street by the conspiracy.
Yeah. Right. So the thought I had is that he feels compelled to go there, and that to know that she's okay, and that helps steel him more. The other thing I was thinking about is revealing some history, but I'll do the seek solace in a relationship.
Okay. So what is it your daughter says to you? I'm picturing a phone call. So what is it she says to you that comforts you?
I think just maybe it's not something specific, but just that she's the conversation is such that she's living a normal life, and she misses me, but I get the sense from her that her life is normal, that she has friends, she's talking about friends and these things, all those kind of things that you would want normal life for a child, right?
Sure.
And
So
that
she tells you about
that makes him feel good about the fact that he knows what he's dealing with, but she's having a happy, normal existence.
right.
For
She
now.
tells you like what she's been doing in Minecraft or something. You know.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so reduce your stress by 1, and roll a d6.
We'll mark the stress one because it seems so appropriate. We're crossing our fingers.
2. On a 2, under seek solace in a relationship, mark your anchor. Just nothing. It's only on a 6 that something else changes. But go in and mark your daughter has been added to the target list.
Cut to see somebody, I think I have that call.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah.
Let's take a 5-minute break again, and then we'll come back and see if there's any more seeking solace that we need to do, and then we'll get into our next operation. Okay. See you in 5.
Can you hear me again?
Yep.
I don't know. Technology. What are you going to do?
Are they new? Is your headset new?
Yeah, I bought them right before we started just because I didn't really have a very good. I was using sort of like speaker stuff, and I know sometimes those things loop back on each other and create echoes and things. So I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I'll just invest. I'll just invest in something. But it's so strange. It did this yesterday. After about an hour, it just dropped, and like I couldn't. You guys are talking away. I couldn't hear anything. You couldn't hear me. So
Are they? Looks like they're wireless. Is that right?
yeah, they're Bluetooth. So yeah, it's and they don't seem to. I don't know. When I have some time, I'll dig in. Now that I know if I just shut them off and turn them back on, they seem to click.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I've had wireless headphones for a while, and sometimes you just lose a connection. So yeah, restarting it, you seems to always fix it. But yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
All right, everyone's back. So we'll go around again, see if there's any more relief from horror that you want to do. That would be fine. Then we'll start talking about setting up for your next operation, using your leads to lead into where you're going next. Before I forget, now that we're into the debrief and stuff, you're getting set up, go ahead and set your load back to light. Erase any equipment that you've used in the last operation. Set that back to default. And you regain your specialty. So if you have that little specialism box, looks like Purity is the only one that has that. You can unclick that next to on line row 10. Good. So let's go around again. Does anybody have any other seek relief from the horror they'd like to do? Dom?
No, I think I'll stick on 2.
Okay. Marco?
No, I'm good.
Purity's all the way back to 1. So you're all set. Nothing else to do there. Okay, so let's talk about, this is really for you guys to kind of talk amongst yourselves and decide where you want to go next. We're on Operation 2 tab now, and already some folks have entered some ideas. Psycho's interrogation points us towards someone high up in MI6. Has been granted power by a demon. Ex-Soviet scientists have the skill sets to build Spiritech. Has demonic master is Azrael. Azrael's compulsion and deterrence. And there might be other things that we've thrown out there in the course of our game that you might want to follow up on. So I will shut up and let you guys determine what your operational objective is going to be, or where we're going to go next, or what lead you want to follow up on. Let's say that much.
Well, look, I have a stake in MI6, so I would be interested in pursuing the MI6 connection, either in Bucharest or, if necessary, going to London.
I like the idea of us changing scenery, since this is like what four episodes we're kind of playing through. So I like going to London, going to the jugular.
I think I can.
Nice building on the Thames.
I think I can get behind that. I think Marco is a little concerned about, that could draw a lot of heat on us, right? If this is a higher up person, it might be very difficult to this is going to be a little different than some random cultists, right? So a little bit concerned about that. I think the ex-Soviet scientists would also be an interesting one to explore, but I would, out of character, I would defer, I think, to the majority rule. So
I just think there's a nice potential plot arc there that has us get to the mortal end of this, and then that throws us into, the climactic operation where we are facing who knows what.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. So the lead is someone high up in MI6 is involved in the conspiracy, right? Follow up on that. It sounds like we're going to move. I heard the word London thrown out there. Does that work for everybody? So we start framing everything in terms of London.
We get a new safe
Yep.
house.
Yep, you're going to do safe house. Yep. We'll come around to that as part of setting up. So let's say we're moving to London and you're following up on this idea that someone high up in MI6 is involved in the conspiracy. Great. Let's go through and define the parts of our operation then. There's 4 questions. The first one is, who or what is the focus of the operation? I think we'll have Alan get us started. Who or what is the focus of our operation, Alan?
I want to pick on, it doesn't really fit, but I want to pick on a business leader, i.e. My handler, my former handler in MI6. Because it seems to me that if he was giving me jobs I think were to do with the conspiracy, I think he might be that high up in MI6.
Okay. What's his name?
Let's call him Sir Peter Faraday.
Okay. So Peter Faraday. Okay. Let's move to Marco. Tell us, where is the focus of the operation? Where are we going to find Sir Peter Faraday? And there's a tab if you go to operation tables.
Yep, I'm headed that way.
I have now I've now automated this in the most recent version of the Keeper, but the idea of transferring all of this across, Jason, I've always been trouble it was worth.
We'll stick to the old school. Where's the target? So you can roll a die. You can roll a couple 6-sided die to decide this, or you can just look at this table here and pick out one that looks good to you.
All right, so I'm assuming the goal is to kidnap this individual so we can find out more information. I'm assuming, right? This sounds like
we don't know yet, but yeah, it could be.
All right. Let's see. How about, boy, there's lots of, maybe I'll just roll a die and we'll see it. Am I going to roll 2 to get across?
Roll 1 and that'll decide which of the matrices you're on. So roll a single die.
This could be fun. I'm hoping for Carnival Circus, but I don't want to pick it.
I'm hoping for mountains.
Pick it.
The mountains of London.
No, I want to. Or the tundra. Yeah. So we'll see if this makes sense. So I'm just rolling the orange die to see here, just for 5. So let's do that across the top.
Oh, okay. And then roll a second die that'll decide which one, or do you just want to pick from the roll 5 or column?
No, we're going all the way here, just unless it gets super ridiculous. So a 1, a hotel.
Yeah.
That's the top 6.
Oh yeah, I think you need to wait. Do you need to roll dice. One more time? Yeah, that's the top group. Yeah, you need to roll one more time.
Who came up with this dice table?
It's very nested.
Yeah, roll one more time. I think you're in the top group of 6 now.
Now it's a 6, so it's a tech lab.
Tech lab. You like that?
Yeah, I like that. That's fine.
Maybe
a little better than
scientist there.
Yeah.
Spirit Tech Lab.
Yeah.
Secret MI6 Spirit Tech Lab.
It's Q.
Spirit Tech. Oh yeah. Demonic Q. Spirit Tech Lab, Soviet scientist ? All right.
We shall see.
Go ahead and scribble in that.
Wow, 2 birds with 1 stone, huh?
Yeah. Operation 2. All right, let's move to the level of opposition. Purity, what level of opposition do you want to face here? This is a table that goes from easiest to hardest. We did occultists and pseudoscientists last time.
Which tab is this on?
Opposition.
Okay.
Operation 2. Yep. Opposition says, what is the threat the operators will face? You select from the list anywhere from nameless organized crime pawns all the way up to greater supernatural.
Okay. Well, to me, the obvious one, given the tech lab, would be the pseudo-scientist or occultist.
Okay.
Do we
Yep.
want to go higher up the chain? I don't have a preference here. Does anyone have a thought on this?
I would like to go to servitor.
Let's do it.
Let's somebody the go between to the demon.
Yeah,
maybe.
Mhm.
let's do that. So I'm gonna pick.
Yeah. And the way I read this is that that's the highest level. So there could also be pseudoscientists and thugs and whatnot. You
Sure.
know, anything from there on down is
Yep.
available. So yeah, let's do that. So select that, and then you go down to demonic servitor activity, and there's another drop down, and you select what do they seem to be doing or planning
Mhm.
under demonic servitor.
Ooh. What about preparing a way for the demon's arrival? Like manifestation.
Love it.
All right. They need to get 50 clicks to appear for 30-second message. 5,000 clicks. Yeah, I love it. Let's do that.
Okay. So given the bare bones that we've established here, now we go back and we establish the operational objective. So that's under lead. This is just a statement that we can ask at the end of the mission that will give us a yes or no answer. Once we do some investigation, we'll come back to this. So right now, I just think this is sort of a rough draft of the objective. What do you guys have in mind?
How about kidnap Sapita? Simple, straightforward,
Yep.
Yep.
easy.
That's yeah. Well, easy.
Okay. Let's talk about our new safe house here in London. If we go back to the operators tab, we scroll across to the right side past your characters. Up at the top on the right, there's the safe house. We're going to, I suppose we should clear out what we had for Prague, and we're going to go through and define some new factors for our safe house here in London. Let's start, as we've been doing today, with Dominique. Dominique, tell us about this place. What's it like?
I think it's a grubby flat in a grubby concrete 1960s tower block.
Okay. And Marco, tell us who is vulnerable nearby, near to the safe house? Which innocent bystanders will be at risk if this place is hit by the conspiracy?
So, just for my own understanding, when you talk about a big old tower block in a flat like that, there would be, you're talking about like what we might call here like that project housing type place, or yeah.
Council, is that what they call them?
Yeah, is that okay? I would say that there's obviously other residents that live there, and even more appropriately, there is a on-site like child care type facility as well.
Well, let's slide away from
Yeah,
the kids,
no, that's
because,
let's slide away from that. Right. So just it's the other residents, right? I mean, it's like the other people that live there have no idea. They're just other people that live there, right?
Sure.
So
yeah, I think that's great.
An RPG that comes through our window is not just going to blow up our flat.
Right.
Okay, so just kind of scribble a little bit about that under who's vulnerable nearby. Let's go to purity. What reassures you about this place? What is there about this place that makes it seem safe?
I don't know, because it sounds like we're gonna have RPGs flying through our windows. I don't. I'll let Alan chime in here because I don't know the UK very well. But I'm thinking, what if the either the structure or maybe the street below, because London is like other cities has had things built on top, right? Maybe there's some sort of like, because I don't want this to be exactly what we had before. Maybe there's some sort of like it's soundly built and it's easy for us to move through. So it's like all in all, it's like really well built sort of structure for our needs.
Okay.
It might resist an RPG.
Exactly. Like it'll go through the window, sure, but once it hits that bedroom wall, like it may not pass through. Like it's soundly built.
Right. Maybe the architect back in the 60s or whatever that built it was a follower of some of the Russian, the very,
Yeah.
Brutalist.
Russian architect. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It will save you from a American's bomb.
Yeah. All right. And then we'll swing around. The last question we'll give to Alan. Why isn't this place ideal? What worries you about this safe house?
I think that the fire exits are locked. So there's one way in and one way out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the only way out is through the front lobby.
Right. So I'm going to add a little bit more detail to the objective. I'm going to say that this tech lab is a social media research lab / business offices high up in a skyscraper in central London. Imagine a newish building with it's very dramatic, striking architecture with big windows, lots of light. So I'll give you that much, to work with. It's a very busy building. There's obviously it's high up in the sky, so that'll add some complications. But let's go with that. Let's have that.
Sorry, that's a terrible link. I wanted to give you a link to the Shard. But
Is that the building? It sounds like that.
Yeah, God knows what I've done with that. I'll do that. I'll do
Okay,
better.
no problem. Let's start with that information then, and let's try to flesh this out a little bit with some investigation scenes. Now, remember, if you prefer to have what's called a preparatory scene, where you're inside the facility at the beginning of the operation, you can save that and do that instead. But if you just want to gain some information, you can do an investigation scene. So as we move around the table, you guys can, keep that in mind if you'd rather do a preparation scene. So if Alan has an idea, let's start with Dominique. What do we see Dominique doing to help prepare for this mission?
You
could pass if you want to think.
Question. Yeah. I think that I don't think I'm well equipped to be the inside person. So I don't think I'm going to try and rustle up a CV to get me a job in this IT social media lab. So I think that I want to find out what kind of protection Sir Peter Faraday has routinely, minders. And so I think what I'm doing is I'm meeting someone from Special Branch in an East London pub. I know them vaguely from previous work. Maybe they don't know that I'm outside MI6. And so, yeah, Bernie. Bernie is Special Branch, and I I'm doing a bit of research on what kind of protection are we offering people? I don't know. Peter Faraday, somebody that kind of middle to high level in 6. What's that look like these days, Bernie?
Okay.
And because I'd hate to tell him about what happened in Lambeth that time, Okay. So I'm trying the verbal hand on the balls this time rather than the actual hand on the balls, because that didn't go well.
We can always go to that. seeing how this goes. So I see Bernie. He's a big guy. He's a big bloke. He's very muscular. He's a tactical. He's a fighter. He's a warrior like you. A couple tours in Afghanistan. And he says, bring us another round, and I'll draw it out for you. The team and whatnot. So let's go ahead and go to the dice, see how that works. Are you going for authority or tradecraft? Either one.
I think I'm going for authority here.
Okay.
It's the implied threat of something I know about him.
Okay.
And I think I'm going to throw stress at this as well. So I'm going to throw the stress dice in, rolling 3 dice because it can't be as bad as last time. And it isn't.
Beautiful. Great. 6, not on the stress. So under investigate, you're going to get the basic information. You're going to get 2 questions. You're going to gain an intel, and there'll be something scary that'll come out of this. We'll hold off on that. See what that might be. So the basic information. He says, He says, we assigned a couple guys, a couple operators to Faraday. He's been moving around the city quite a bit. But the weird thing is he sent them back. He says he doesn't want him. He doesn't need. He says he doesn't need any protection. Strange, isn't it? And then you have 2 statements or questions.
That is weird. So he isn't using special branch minders.
As far as I know, he doesn't have any protection at all.
Yeah, well, that is fine. Well, I think then that I am going to imply from that he has, because the trouble with special branch minders is the most they'll be able to carry around London is a handgun.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that we can expect, I'm going to ask you if it's okay to state, he has conspiracy paramilitary protection. They may not be dressed as paramilitaries, but
right.
I'm thinking compact SMGs, bulletproof vests, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and he says, I thought that was curious, so I followed him to the Shard. Is that the name of the building? I followed him to the Shard, and he went in, and these 2 goons picked him up, dressed in full tactical gear, and escorted him, up through the building.
Well, that's weird, Bernie. So he has at least 2 conspiracy paramilitary minders, which means we can't get to them easily. And I think I want to ask a question: is why is he spending so much time at these offices in the Shard? What's the branch know?
He word has kind of come down the grapevine that he had a meeting with the boss, with the minister. Would the minister be the head of MI6, or is that department head, whatever?
No, it's the minister. The Home Office oversees MI6, but MI6 would be run by a top civil servant, I guess, or a top spy. It probably is Judi Dench.
Okay, he met with M, and word is he came out of there smiling, and M was in tears and trembling, and he's been giving free rein to look into some new surveillance tech that they're working on in the Spirit Lab, or what did we call it? Spirit Tech, up in the Spirit Tech lab.
Gosh, right. And I'm guessing that the fact that M was shaken by the conversation is why I get to roll for stress.
Exactly.
Because my recollection is that she's hard as nails.
Exactly.
That's 2, which is fine.
Okay.
But I will also mark a point of intel for that 6. Get in. Right. That'll do me.
Okay, great. Let's move over to Marco. Marco, do you have a scene in mind?
Yeah, so I think that it's the thought was that this this might be a kind of like a startup type tech company, right? That the government is funding, that people don't realize that the government is funding. And so I think the most obvious thing is that he gets himself hired in there as a contractor or something for to be able to try to couple things. Obviously, being in there, his eyes are open to things, but also then I think um, he would try to plant some sort of programs into their system that would allow us to surveil or learn things. And I was thinking a little bit around, and I'll throw this out there for I don't want to decide this on my own, of course, but like that maybe this is a social media type startup that the government is very interested in, that they could maybe like influence people in a different way, right? Because if it's this spirit tech that they've that like you and I would not know, obviously, it's the coolest new platform to do stuff on, but that there's the government is interested in using it to try to sway sway public opinion, do things like that with this spirit tech type stuff. So
Perfect. Another word for sway is tempt, right? As in
yes, exactly.
temptation. Okay. So are you aiming to like already be in a cubicle there when the operation starts, like a preparation? Or
Yeah,
are you
I
looking
think
to gain
that
information beforehand?
yeah, I was thinking of it in terms of preparation, right? Like basically go get a job there. And so I'm Ted the contract. I don't think I'm young enough to be Ted the intern, but I think I would be enough to be Ted the new contractor that's helping out with some of the programming because they're behind. That's maybe
Sure.
the other, they're behind, and so they're bringing on people to catch up.
Okay. So we're going to come back around to you then right before we start the operation. We'll get you fixed into the location. Okay. So let's move to Purity. Purity, you have something in mind.
So I think what Purity would be interested in is trying to find a way into the people power, the people on the street, people who are rallying in support of this enterprise, and trying to figure out if they can get a way in. So like Marco, I think, is going in through the employee basis, and Dom is going in through the MI6. I'm going to go in through as one of the little people and
Just like
infiltrate.
the secretaries and the janitors and stuff that work at the place. Is that kind of what we're talking about?
Or like even like on like the grassroots level, right? I want to get a sense of who, because one of the conditions on this demon was if we can disempower them, right? I want to find like as many people that I can find out if we can turn them against Azrael,
Okay.
the believers.
So you're exploring more like the demon worshippers themselves, trying to get into their cells or their networks.
Yeah, and if I can record in confidence like testimonies of them saying, I don't really believe this, it's just something I'm putting on my resume as I get into college or something, then I'm going to build up this database of this thing that I can then put into Marco's hand that he can release as a weapon.
Right. So I'm picturing maybe like we see a vignette, a montage of you talking to suggestible college students, maybe.
Yeah.
And they're passing out pamphlets, and they're veiled, sort of like, "Come worship the demon with us," but of course it's using different language.
I like the idea, almost like DR codes or something with augmented reality. If you have the app, you can see the real message or something. Yeah. So yeah, I'm like getting in. I'm volunteering. I'm doing the social things. I'm like learning who's the real movers and shakers, where they get, who's really in play on the ground. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go to the dice and see how this works out. It sounds like a persuasion. So you can use your expertise. You got the gray die. You got the expertise. Do you wish to use your stress?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I don't think I'll ever say no to stress.
Yeah.
I got a
All right.
5 on the gray die.
Okay, great. So stress does not go up. Under investigation, you get the basic information plus 1 question. I think that's it, right? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So the basic information, yeah, that it's clear that they've been recruiting amongst the the Gen Z, and they've been pretty successful. There's quite a few secret meetings going on. They use it's always phrased in terms of like joining. They have like a special app that they've put out that people are using, and there's quite a few meetings going on around the city. It's a building amongst this age group.
Yeah,
And then you can ask a question or make a statement.
Yeah, um, I think what Purity would be interested in is getting into the inner circle of the people in this sphere, getting as close to the center of power on the recruiting, the people power of this operation. I think that's where they want to be. Whether they have to like make promises, sleep their way into it, whatever it is, like Purity is like, this is all for the better good of humanity on this
Right.
planet. And plus it'll also help me to convert my companions to understanding the real thing going on here with the angels.
Right. So I think you get to I'll let you name them, but let's say you get to whoever the high priest of this group is, and you sit down with them, and you're having some beers in a pub, and this person says, it's all a bunch of bullshit. I mean, it's a good way to make money. It's a good way to meet people, but it's all garbage.
I'm typing a name in here just for fun. Alexandra Alley Crawley.
Allie Crawley,
who's like supposedly like the great granddaughter of Crowley or whatever.
Yeah, just like my grandpa.
Yeah, she's got the name recognition.
It sells books. Yeah. It makes money, but
she's got it. She's got like crowdsourced a new tarot deck and all these things.
I just make sure I dye my hair black. I have the right tattoos. She shows you like a pentagram and like upside down cross and different and you just say and do the right thing.
Oh, and like Enochian, like the fake version. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, we'll see. You've established then that you have this recording of someone high up in the organization, professing that they don't believe or that's a bunch of garbage. Great.
I'm definitely sending copies of all of these to Marco for his weapon of mass disbelief.
Right. Hack into the sound system or something. Okay, great. So let's go back to the operational objective then. Does that need any editing or changing, or you like it how it is? What did we have again? Operation 2, kidnap Sir Peter Faraday.
It seems like we're starting to lean towards also stopping whatever's happening with this company. Feels like more of what we're doing is a little bit, unless, so one thing I forgot to mention when I was chatting earlier was that maybe he's sort of the government liaison. He's the person who is involved with the company, right? So he's whether he's I don't know if they're allowed to do this in England, whether it's actually his company, and he's probably not, or if he's or if he's the sort of the liaison between the government and the company, and both from because there might be like 2 layers of conspiracy here, right? So like the normal people are like, hey, it's this cool new social media thing. The government is like, ooh, but we can try to influence and tap into people. And then the demon conspiracy is like, yes, we can tap in and influence and tempt people even beyond that, right? So it's like this multi-layered, everybody's trying to manipulate the common people. And so yeah, so I don't know if part of this is getting, me getting involved in this is so that I can figure out if there's a way to get to Peter while he's at the there, or yeah, so it seems like our objective has shifted a little bit through the description here to also, at least also stopping or finding out what's going on with this new this thing or something like that. So
I think you're right. I think this is about understanding what this does, so that we can then stop it doing what it does.
right, and that might include kidnapping Sir Peter, right?
The bonus of a kidnapped Knight of the Realm is not to be ignored. And just let me stress, just because he shouldn't have shares in this business,
right,
doesn't mean he doesn't have shares in this business.
Right.
Held in an offshore account in Barbados.
Yeah,
that never happens.
No, like, the thought is like he does own shares in the company. He's been secretly behind it, and that's how it came into the notice of the government, and it's all kind of connected together there. So
what about?
Oh, go ahead, Alan.
Oh, I've just find out what the Spirit Tech app does.
Yeah,
is that the root of this? And anything else is a bonus,
right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, that works for me. Let us then get. Let me ask you if anyone wants to spend intelligence before we enter the operation itself. You can spend intel to ask some additional questions or make some statements. You can define one of the obstacles that we're going to face. If there's something you really want to face, an obstacle that you think you look cool doing, this is your moment to spend an intel to do that. Or you can, define more about the supernatural foe.
I want to throw out an idea. I think this is Marco's spotlight to shine. I feel like this venture being in London, whatnot, Dom is going to play a key role in this. But since this is a quasi tech company, I think it would be cool if we spend some intelligence, and I've got some, to have Marco go in and do some, like, whether it's in person on site or through hacking scenes of understanding the tech behind what's going on here. I don't know how best to explain it, but like to highlight your cool skills is what I'm after.
So you want to see Marco uncover the truth, or at least key elements of the truth through digital intrusion. Is that kind of what you're looking for?
Sure. What do you think?
And we already have fictional positioning of Marco being the inside man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that seems to me to be a no-brainer. Whether it's not going to happen anyway.
Well, I think it'd be cool, like, if either physically or through his digital skills, he's able to at least give us a glimpse of the secret sauce behind the curtain. Yeah. I think that would be kind of cool.
All right, so I'm going to add under obstacles next to Marco, discovering the secret sauce.
That's what we call it in startup land.
Yeah, exactly.
Secret sauce.
Secret sauce behind Spirit Tech. Okay.
Yeah. Which has moved from being an invented word to a company or a lab, and now it's an app. That's the kind of startup trajectory you need.
All right, so Purity, mark off an intel. Does anyone else want to do anything with their intel?
I'm tempted, but I think I might keep it for when, because it's proven very difficult for Dom to earn any intel, so I think she's going to hoard the 2 she currently has.
Okay, great. Let's then, before you enter the operation, let's define your load. So I imagine, Marco, you're going to be the inside person, so you probably are going to be lightly loaded.
That's what I thought. Yep.
How about the other 2 guys? What do you think?
Gosh, what cover are we going to use to get in the building? If Purity, you're going to try and blag your way in as, part of the user group or something.
Well, yeah, like I'm wondering, because I know this from American politics anyways, and with business people crossovers, that there's usually some sort of like party or something to celebrate efforts, and they usually bring in the VIP, even if it's for like 5 minutes, to give like a phoned in victory speech or something. So that's what I was kind of thinking. Like there might be an opportunity where, if not with Peter, then one of his underlings, which would maybe bring us into the building, into like a conference area for like pizza or something.
I think if we'd opted for preparatory scenes that gave us that fictional positioning, but I think we're going to be down to blagging our way into that.
Oh, sure.
Somehow.
Then yeah, if it's just us on our own, then I mean, like I can attempt to be a low-level staffer
from the government.
And you never know, if worst comes to the worst, it's possible to spend stress to call in a contact to give you the right paperwork.
Yeah, or like the ID or whatever, right?
Yeah. On the grounds that you should never have all your eggs in a single basket, if Purity's going to try and get in through the front door that way, I think I'd like a job with the window cleaning contractors. And that would give me an excuse to be medium loaded.
Okay.
Cool. I'm going in.
So at the start, we're going to see Purity walking towards the front door. We're going to see Dom, doing some window cleaning in a company uniform of some sort with a big satchel or something next to her. And Marco is working in a cubicle, right?
Gosh,
so
I
yeah,
do that all week. Now I'm doing it on the weekends too. In my game, I'm pounding away at a cubicle even.
So yeah, I'm imagining the opening for Dom is probably Dom emerges on the pointy roof of the Shard, in overalls, and attempts to coerce her way into the cradle.
What's the cradle?
Oh, the cradle that's going to then lower down to the floor where Spiritech is.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't. Would you have to like? I guess you could like coerce somebody to do that, or do you want to have a contact that got you this position?
I'm just wondering about whether to spend stress on that. So yeah, let's flash back to let me think. I must know a fixer, mustn't I? In London. Let's see. No, I've got to. So let me just see if I could.
Well, it's amazing all the contacts Georgie has in cities all over the world.
That's true. Yeah. So a telephone call to Georgie to just arrange to have some the right set of overalls and an employee lanyard delivered.
I imagine a lot of Eastern Europeans work in these sort of lower level kind of jobs.
Fair enough. So then it becomes a role to maintain my cover. Right. I will just spend that stress to having called on Georgi. So now I have temporary disguise skill.
Okay, and I'll remember that. We're just about done for today, but we got everybody, in a position. I think the one last roll. Let's get the preparatory scene to see what kind of condition Marco's in right now. So we assume it's been some time has passed. You've been working away here. I think we already kind of laid out fictional positioning. So let's just go to the dice then. I think I'm not absolutely sure. Alan, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this would be maintain your cover.
I think that's the most interesting one at this point in the proceedings.
Yeah. So let's maintain your cover. You get the gray die, Marco. You the orange die. What kind of skills?
So I have disguise, and the reason I had originally picked that was because he, being thought to be maybe dead after that he learned that skill to prevent from being discovered. So that was kind of the original fictional. So I think that would play in as expertise here?
Absolutely. So you've got a haircut, maybe you change the color of your hair, maybe you've got some like contact lenses, changing the color of your eyes, who knows?
Well, it's definitely if it's a tech startup, I've got orange hair now or something like that, right?
Absolutely. So go ahead and roll the 2 dice. Do you want to add your stress die?
Yeah. Didn't get rid of all that stress for nothing. So, all right, here we go.
That's a perfect roll. So you get a 6. It's not on the stress. So you maintain your cover. You succeed brilliantly and control will agree with you what extra benefit you get. You also mark intel. You're going to discover something scary though. what kind of extra benefit do you want to have? Something you gained in your time here?
So I was thinking that, a lot of times they bring people in and they're compartmentalized, right? Like you're working on just this little piece or whatever. And I think early on he displayed his skill in such a way that they gave him access, and brought him into, um, some of the deeper tech that's underneath the covers there, to work on, because he's, because I think I like the idea of that, they're behind, right? And so that kind of said, hey, this guy's brilliant or whatever, let's get him involved over here. So that's kind of how he now went from just being like, oh, working on the UI or something like that. Now they've brought him over and he's been exposed to some of the deeper inner workings of the application, and that has gotten him to where he's starting to understand exactly how this stuff is working and what it really does.
Perfect.
Did I go too far? Did I go too far there?
Nope.
Or
Love
just
it.
give me all the answers, right? I rolled a
Right.
6. Come on, man.
Sure. I think the scary thing is that you see this guy Peter Faraday come through. I'm seeing I'm seeing Peter Cushing is what I'm seeing, and
Yes.
Peter Cushing comes walking through, and he's got a couple burly guys in tactical gear, like with just openly carrying automatic weapons, and also a smallish man with bright green hair that you recognize is walking along with him. And I think that's
Excellent.
the scary thing. So let's roll stress to see if that freaks you out.
All right.
Nope, you're cool with it. Green-haired psycho doesn't recognize you. Your disguise holds. They walk through deeper into the offices of Spirit Tech. Let's close down for today, and next time we'll be ready to jump right into the operation. It's 12:01. If you have to go, that is perfectly fine. But if you have 5 minutes to do stars and wishes, I'd love to hear what you have to say. If you have to go, just wave and click off. But otherwise, let's go around the table. As before, stars and wishes, you can give both at the same time, or you can hold off. It's up to you. Let's start with you, Alan. Do you have any feedback for us?
Oh yeah, stars. A joint star for you, Jason, and you, David, for making this actually the most supernatural game of Against the Dark Conspiracy that I've seen so far. Really milking that supernatural aspect, and maybe it's because it's the demon conspiracy. I don't know, but that was really great. I really enjoyed that. And Joe, I love it when people kind of latch onto a mechanic and say, "Aha! Thank you for reinserting Psycho as a mole." That was just spot on. So those would be my key stars. So as wishes, this has to come down to some time-based issue in a server room. I refuse to believe that this is not going to boil down to Marco having to do something spotlighty in a server room while somehow Purity and I create sufficient distractions to kind of give him the time to do it. I don't know. That's what's on my list. And maybe having to rappel down the side of a building. I don't know.
Yeah.
Great.
Your window thing seems to lead to, if more than just one of us is not trying to get out of that building on that window washing thing, there might be some disappointment. It feels set up perfectly for that.
Great. Thank you for that. Let's move across to Joe. Joe, do you have any stars or wishes?
No, I just I don't know. I so into doing this that I always forget to think about this, and I don't mean to be, but I'm just obviously, again, everybody, this is a freaking blast. I'm sorry. It's just, it's just this is a type of play that I haven't been exposed to before, and it's the only kind of play I'm going to continue having. Sorry, D&D 5e. Oops. But this is wonderful. So everybody, Jason, you're doing a fantastic job. I know how hard I've run games of other systems, and it's I always stress out about it, and you're doing fantastic. So, and Alan, the game, wow. And I do, David, the spiritual, the supernatural stuff. I do have a little bit of I like the supernatural stuff, and so the fact that we're leaning into that, is pretty cool. So, and I wishes just let's keep doing what we're doing. That's all I have to say. So I'm happy as a clam. So.
Okay, thank you. Let's move over to David.
Yeah, mostly a repeat of what everyone else has said. I'm really enjoying learning the system. There's a lot of great moving pieces here, and like I said earlier, I really enjoy the stress isn't just a flat out nothing. You don't get anything. You do get something potentially out of it. So there's a lot of great things I'm looking forward to learning even more. And Jason, you're doing a fabulous job blending this all in with the story. And I'm really looking forward to seeing the next session. And I agree with something has to happen with this building. Like the building is a character as part of this adventure, and just I'm hoping Stephen can come back and join us. That'd be great. But I'm really enjoying and I'm also really pleased that we got to do some of that character overlaps. So I can see us almost potentially Dom and Purity having that mentor-mentee role in a way, unintentionally next time, where we have to figure out how to work together. That could be really exciting. Or don't work together. Yeah. So thank you all very much. I'm enjoying this.
Thank you. Let's see. Stars and wishes. Wishes. I'm trying to think here. Do I need to go faster or not? I'm not sure. Like I said, my goal is to get 3 operations done. We've got, a little bit less than a full operation done today. Going through each of the cycles, the phases. I think we're kind of on track, but I'll keep that in mind. Definitely of keeping things moving. I think we've nailed down a lot of the narrative stuff now. So now we're left with just action, action, action. But of course, we'll just add more and more stuff, which leads to my stars, which is, at every step of the way, whenever each of you have an opportunity to define things, it's full of wonderful flavor, playing back on each other's each of you is taking things that other people have set up and then enriching it and using it in your own stuff, really collaboratively working together. I'm just trying to keep up. So yeah, well done. I think that's pretty much all I got.
I mean, for what it's worth, Jason, if you think about, we pretty much, apart from one dice roll last time, we did an entire operation today, plus a setup for the next one.
Right.
So that is a complete operation in a session.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
No, I don't sweat the time constraint thing. I think you've got a lot done. Collectively, we've got a lot done today.
Yeah, and I think that gives me a benchmark. Yeah, I think I will try to nail down at least this whole session. My goal is to get this whole operation done next time and be ready for the next one on our last session. That will probably be something I'll be aiming at. Great. Something else I was going to say. Oh,
is it all right to publish?
Oh, yeah. Is it okay to publish? Great. And the other thing I was going to say is it's always fun when I have a run on the gauntlet to have that session where there's only 3 players, because then everybody gets some more spotlight. So everybody really took advantage of it. Well done. And the sessions are always fun when there's 3 players versus 4. So this is just follows through on that pattern. Okay, guys, thank you very much. I will see you next Sunday.
Thanks, folks. Loved it. See you next time.
See y'all.
Bye-bye.